Welcome to Opinionated with Resla.
This is one of the things that I want to work on, by the way. This is what I'm trying to fix. This whole shifting of different mixers. This whole shifting of different mixers, channels, always the channels are separating each other. So one moment one is happening over here, next moment it's cutting out on the other end. This is the stuff that I'm trying to correct. So by the way, I was waiting for my mixer, the mixer that's compatible with the studio part that's with my current mixer. And what happened is all of a sudden I see the Amazon guy coming up. I'm like, yep, it's here. I'm about to get this. It's about to be lit. I got a couple of hours. Maybe I can work on it. And then it literally tells me now arriving tomorrow. I'm at work tomorrow. Why is it telling me that it's now arriving tomorrow? So I'm a bit pissed. So then on top of that, I go over to my storage unit. And because I'm trying to rush, I'm trying to get things out of there. I'm now mad at how cluttered it looks. I start moving shit, and I dropped I dropped a corner of a Pelican case right on my foot. So I'm not happy. Anyway, guys. Anyway, hopefully you guys heard whatever's going on, because shit is all over the place right now. Anyway, good to see you. I am your guy, Resla. Welcome to Opinionated. I didn't have much of an episode, but we can talk about time, because I feel like this is something that I've given up more of versus how we pretty much started out everything here. I miss a lot of my time. I did realize just how much I actually got done because I had more time to myself. It's different from you're being at home to the point where now you have to spend a lot of time being in other places. So this is going to be one of those trade-offs that I'm going to have to relearn, because it never seems like you have enough when you need it, right? So, of course, everybody, welcome to the episode. And I know everyone here has been feeling pretty much what I've felt at some point, and that is this whole lacking of time. I don't have enough time, and I wish I had the time, and I want to do things when it comes to time. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those things that we are all constantly complaining about. I mean, I keep putting this window over there, and that's why I have to keep breaking my neck to see what's going on. Here we go. Complaining about it in a way that we never have enough of it. And the thick irony of it is, it's kind of true, but it's kind of not. It's the one thing we measure ourselves by, but at the same time, we're the ones who have to take the best control of it. We're the ones who allow time to, quote, slip by, but it only is dependent on what we have to do in order to maintain ourselves in life. This is really what it is. We've all heard the phrase, I miss having more time. I know I've used it. You probably said it to yourself out loud. You probably even said it in your own head. But as I'm thinking about it, what does that really mean? You know? Is it just about clocking in and clocking out, or needing more hours to relax? Because sometimes I feel like I have hours to relax, but now I realize from my previous role to my role now, because I have to be at a location versus when I was here, I could get little small projects done. I had to sit down. If I get to a call, I can do that. I can do some quick stuff because it was very specific and task oriented. Now I have so much more that I have to do because I have so much more that I have to look at in a business. and I have to be there at a physical location. So they were like, literally, I could sit at a call, get the call done, do some reports or whatever, get up, build a whole new shelf. Maybe the other side of this office is full of junk or whatever, or half the wall is painted or whatever. But I was able to get things moving. And now I can't do it. I have to go get home, sleep, think about what if I get up, cook if I need to. Like the same thing you guys have to do as well. In addition to being here, doing this with you guys. So the idea of relaxing or the idea of having more time is slipping from me. I've gotten so comfortable, you can actually say, having more of it. It's weird. It's weird. I think the deeper thing we have to look at when it comes to this the clock ticking on our ambitions, on our lives, and how we come to measure things as being successful, or rather measuring our time when it comes to being successful at the things that we set up for ourselves. Now, as we roll through tonight's show, I'm going to take you on a small journey. I want to kind of unpack why we're all so obsessed with time. Why we've all turned it into something we're almost scared of. We're going to have to really look at what it means when we say, I miss having more time. How that nostalgia is more of a momentary thing than how we actually quantify how we look at it in terms of reality. It's a matter of, I'm sorry, I'm like all over the place. I'm freaking tired as well. Give me a moment, sorting through my mind, because that sounded one way in my head and it came out like verbal diarrhea. But a lot of us get scared when it comes to time, and a lot of us say things like, "But we wish to have more time. We have time. We look at the time." And when I think of it nostalgically looking back, just to literally a few weeks ago, how much time that I actually had, and thinking about those moments, I'm like, damn, I had so much I could actually do, so much that I can actually get away with, and now I'm like, it's back to the grind. I guess it's for me, I'm trying to reacclimate myself to the actual conditions of what we do. Now I have to literally measure time because I can't use it how I used to. And I think it's about what we did in those moments, which is why we end up quantifying time. Because a lot of people have time and they waste it. A lot of people have a lot of time and they waste it. I'm realizing just how much time I had versus how much time I have now. And it's weird. It's weird to me now. So as we cut a little bit down deeper into this, how do I measure time? I measure time by exactly what I have available of it. It's not about sunlight. It's not about that. It's about how much time can I actually use for the things that I need to do, for the things that I want to do. And if I find myself not having time to do the things that I want to do versus the things that I feel like I have to do, that's how I quantify time. That's how I do it. Since you wanted to ask the question, Arthur. So let's first of all, let me thank everybody who actually just came up in the building. Do appreciate you guys being here. I do see some new names that are up in here, but of course, I see Crazy Mama's up in here. Cousin Lawrence is in the building. Appreciate it. No Chaser is in here as well. Let's see. Who? Sunzi? Sorry. Suji? You're gonna have to break that down to me, because my mind is reading something totally different. But I appreciate you being in here. Miss Raven's in here. Let's is in the building. Douglas is here. Says, you and me both, Resla. Yeah. Let's see. Play Foundations in the building. Peace is back here. Hey, Peace. You feeling good? Feeling strong today? Just call you Knee. I'll call you Knee. You feeling good, Peace? Of course, Arctic is in here. Let's see. Ruck. Yo, Ruck. What's going on? My man Ruck is in the building. Just Becca is here. Uncle Fatty's in the building. Appreciate you for being here. And of course, other people who walk in, do yourselves a solid. When you walk into the building, please give a like. It's the only price of admission right now. If you feel free, you want to donate, I take that as well, because it all helps towards building the foundation of what we do here. For instance, trying to get things all together so that we're not struggling through this whole muted mic thing, or all of a sudden one mixer decides it wants to kick in and kick out the other mixer, or whatever the hell else is going on. So that's what it is. Appreciate you already starting to support up in the building. Is Ruck. He gives the $3 super sticker. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Ruck. Thank you very much for that. Let me make sure I change this one so I can see things a little bit more clearly. All right, cool. There we go. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. So let's get into this ideal that we're messing around with. And it's the idea that we're missing the idea of having more time. For me, it's kind of a phrase that people throw around. They throw it out there when they feel like life has been on fast forward, right? At least that's how it feels like for me right now. I'm pretty sure other people have gotten that same sentiment. And let's just be honest. The world today doesn't exactly help you with that. It doesn't. We're all out here running around trying to juggle work, juggle relationships, juggle our own personal ambitions. But in the end, we're told that time is money. And if you're not making enough money with your time, are you even using it right? And there's something to be said in that when we say that the only reason why we can even look at time is only in reference to money. Let's be honest. Most of us, the majority of us, spend the bulk of our money that we trade for time to pay other people things that we don't use ourselves, that we don't really use ourselves. We pay because we have to. And I'm going to say outside of a mortgage. You have a house, you use it. It's the place you have no choice but to lay your head in. But like, let's just say you don't really use a lot of electricity. Still got to pay your bill. Let's just say you're not home enough because you're working all the time outside, but you still need internet. You got to pay for that. Doesn't matter how much internet you use, you're still going to have to pay that monthly bill because that's a set charge. Things like that, like this that I'm talking about. And here's the thing. Time has become the most precious commodity that we have. Even though people turn around and say, what exactly is time? And how exactly do we quantify it? And we don't know really what to do with it. Everyone's hustling. Everyone's grinding. Everyone's trying to make a living. That's really how we all should really be looking at time. It's really about how people are trying to make a living. But what's the point of it if we're not actually living? If we don't actually have lives? I know so many of us are out there feeling like we're stuck in a loop. We're stuck in a loop. We feel like time just keeps slipping away out of our fingers like sand. And for me, it's like you're trying to hold on to, well, I'll just say water. Since you can hold a little bit more onto sand than you can about water. Trying to hold on to water. Every time you relax or you take a break, you get hit with the constant reminder of, hell, I can't tell you how many times my phone went off. You get hit with the constant reminder of just how much work you've got left. Tell yourself, I just need a little more time. But face it, when do you ever have enough time to really do what you want? And we understand how everything that we have to use, mainly working, is We're spent more time working than we do having more time to ourselves. That is the majority of us. And don't even get me started on the whole endless to-do list. It's like the more you try to get ahead, the more tasks seem to pile up. I used to be able to chill and chat with you guys, have time to look at different stuff and come up with a script and whatever. And then on top of that, I could wash my clothes and still wait for an Amazon delivery and order a freaking DoorDash or whatever. I don't really use DoorDash, but whatever. And still manage a lot of stuff because I had time. And now I'm realizing I have to sit here and plot out what I have to do next to next to next to next to next. And I'm sitting there going, I'm off today. Why do I have to break things up in manageable time blocks to get shit done? And it's my day off. I should have the time to do whatever the fuck I want on my day off. Coming to the realization that, oh yeah, Resla, this is what it was like when you were working full time before with an employer under their clock. It's funny how much your mindset can change in that 3-year block. It's really, really weird. We're not talking about the things like, we said what? That is not. Oh, okay. I don't know what that was about. Like I said, I keep seeing things that are piling up. And I think the thing that we're not talking about though is how these demands are that we have to keep when we talk about time are taking a lot away from us. They're taking away from from us experiencing the most important things. They're taking away the time to just be present. I feel like that's one of the things that hits me the most. When I can sit down and do things, I was present in the moment. And now I'm too busy thinking about the next thing. I can't even be present in the moment. Either I'm thinking about something that already happened, or I'm thinking about something that has to happen next. I'm not present. And I think that's my largest annoyance right now. Because getting into that mode that I had previously, I was present. I kind of miss that. Actually, I felt present earlier when we were talking in the stream. Forget what they told you about maximizing your time. Every single minute. Sometimes the best use of our time is just to be. I'm thinking about time as a commodity. The whole idea of being this precious non-renewable source has been drilled into us day in and day out. You ever notice how everything is about productivity now? I mean, don't get me wrong. I was like that even before I got with this new employer. But everything's about productivity now. We're encouraged to wake up earlier, hustle harder, work through the weekends. Because if you're not grinding, what's the point, right? The whole culture of hustle porn, let's be honest, is what it is. And this glorified 24/7 grinding isn't just draining, it's toxic. And I remember, I think this is the part that I'm starting to really hate, because I remember what that felt like. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying I'm already going through it. I'm just remember my body is adjusting to the way it used to. It was weird when I finally had time off and I slept and it was 8 hours or whatever. 8 hours. Before I wasn't even getting 8 hours. But when I slept in, it was 8 hours, and I get up and I'd be like, oh shoot, I gotta get up, go for work, and I forgot. Oh, I don't even have to get my sneakers on. I just gotta make sure I dress good and everything is good. Shower, eat, sit down, clock in, and do my thing. And no, this is not me glorifying that remote work is the best work, because I do miss going into an office and meeting and building rapport with people. It's different from seeing people on a screen. Now, I'm not saying that. I just think the amount of time that we spend working is a problem. What are your thoughts on that? The idea that we have people that want to come in and spend 16 hours. We only have 24 in a day, and you still got to get some sleep. That despite the fact that there are actually work processes in there for some companies that turn around and say that we at least need to give you an 8 to 10 hour gap before you can start your next shift. And yet there are people who are on the clock still going past regular work shift because there are things that you have to sort out through regulatory laws. Like the fact of the matter is that this is something that drives me nuts, by the way. Because I used to be a person that wanted to do this and I would get rejected on it. Why can't I work more than 8 hours if all I need to do is make 40 hours in a week? Why can't I have 3 days off? Why not just have me work 12-hour shifts? Why do I have to work 8? Well, we got to stretch it out so that you work 5 days. Why do you need 5 days from me? What's so special about this 5th day? Why can't I work 4 days and have 3 days to myself? Where's the pain in that? And people start scratching their head. Try going to your employer. Try going to your boss and say, because this is what I did when I was getting out the door. Hey, Resla, we noticed that we're looking at your evaluation and just your work is there, but it seems like your effort is kind of gone. I say, yeah, because I want to live more and work less. They were like, well, we kind of expect you to, put in 100. And I said, name me anything on the planet that's 100% all the time, every time. If nothing in nature behaves that way, why should you expect that from me? I keep telling myself I want more time, and I have less time than I ever wanted. I have less time to speak and see family and friends. I have less time in my relationship. And we live together. What the hell? We live together and I have less time. And all I say is that I'm willing to put in extra time in a day so I can have extra time for myself. And that's a crime somehow to you? So you said you can, right? I hate to say this. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it. Don't think that the people who work for themselves is easy. Working for yourself is not simple. Or rather, I should say, working for yourself is simple. It's not easy. A lot of people have good benefits of working for someone else. Eating what you kill is a struggle. It ain't that simple. It's like saying you could just live off the grid. That's not a simple life. That's not an easy life. It requires very specific skills. And not everybody is born equal. You know what's also a choice? Jumping off a bridge. Not many people do that. It's easy to just throw out catchphrases like that. Just do it. You're not Nike. Not everybody can just do it. It's a very specialized knowledge to be able to pull it off. Not everybody, because this is something that we also see in the world. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. The majority of people are not entrepreneurs. Not even a quarter of the people in any country are entrepreneurs. Why? Because it's not simple. It's not easy. Yeah, that's another bullshit thing. People say, stop thinking, start doing. You can start doing, but guess what you're going to have to do? Think. You're going to have to think. Because you know what you could be doing? You could be doing a whole lot more and getting a lot less done. You know what we call that? Running in place. You're doing the running man. Yeah, grab life by the balls and twist. Yeah. like, like it's little catchphrases like that. Hustle harder. If you're already grinding it out, you're already on your last leg. Hustle harder. Get up later. I was a person who I barely got 4 hours of sleep. Now my body's also readjusting where I'm now sleeping 5. Keep in mind, we're all getting older too. We're not getting younger. We're getting older. None of y'all out here are Benjamin Buttons. As you get older, you start acquiring things within your life cycle and within your life. You didn't start out with children. You got children over time, if you have children. You weren't, unless you got some trauma and you got some psychiatrist that you need to go to. You weren't going to the doctor at 10 and 11 years old getting a prostate exam. If so, I don't know what your parents were having you do. It's a little sus. Just saying. Things change for older folks. Yeah, he's one of the worst. Gary Vee is one of the worst. Gary Vee, Brett Cardone, like they are some of the worst. They pushed that hustle porn and have burnt a lot of people out. They have done more damage than they believe. That's a fact too. Hips don't lie, they just hurt. The idea of people working, say like let's say retail, jewelry business, things like that. The idea that you would be in your 40s, let's go your 50s, maybe even your 60s, right? And you would be standing on your feet for multiple hours, say like 8, 9, 10 hours, right? People are not livestock. You don't lock into place your legs and now you can be comfortable. And you know what they just tell you? Buy better sneakers. You're still not supposed to be upright for that many hours. That many hours. And then they tell you, you know what? You can have a 15-minute break. What? 15 minutes? And you know what they're gonna say, right? You get your 15-minute break, you're 55 years old, you finally sit down, and when your supervisor comes, you say, what you doing? Why are you sitting down? Why are you sitting down? I just need 15 minutes. You don't need 15 minutes. You know what you need? Kid, listen to this. Get on this podcast. Hustle harder. Hustle harder. Losers take breaks. 15 goes by like that. Here you are, back on the grind again. Livestock. You know, with the first job that I saw this being a problem, security. I don't mean like door security, like in clubs or things like that. That's not what I meant. But like actual security. Unless they're like patrolling, like they're walking around securing a place or whatever, some of them have desks they can go to, chill, do reports or whatever, get up, do another round of inspections or in a car or things like that. But what about those guys who just stand at the door like this? Why is it they don't get you a stool or something? Why are you on your feet for a 12-hour shift? By the way, I used to work 12 and 16-hour shifts, especially as a supervisor. Why? One on the crappy ass hard surface floor. And then worse, if you got to wear attire, specific attire, they say things like you cannot wear like specific type of sneakers. So here you are. You might be suited and booted, looking really good, but your feet are in pain. When I was working those kind of jobs, I used to see a chiropractor every month, twice a month. So I said, oh, I got to get out of this job. And you know, well, why is it I can't be, I can still sit, but I'm propped up, but I'm not necessarily deep on my ass. Weird kind of a saying. I don't know. I just thought about the person sitting down and for some reason deep on my ass, just it would fill up my mouth. That's not. Oh man. You know, the reason why it popped into my head is because I remember having a conversation with somebody. I remember having a conversation way back when the memory just kicked in, where I was like, why am I standing up? Why can't I just have like a bar stool or some shit like that? Something that I don't have to be like sitting in a bad posture. I can react really quickly. You know, the mindset was like, you can't move your ass when you're sitting on it. So my mindset was like, if an emergency really happened, I need to be able to move real quick. So why can't I just like have a bar stool? It's tall enough where I can, you know, get up real quick to prop. You know, maybe if you're short, your feet might dangle a little bit. But if something really happens, you can get up real quick. You don't have to push yourself up. You can just get up. And they said, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good? Yeah, it doesn't look professional. But you think it's professional for someone to be standing for 12 hours in a stationary position? Like I'm fucking I'm a fucking guard, like I'm a fucking military guard, you know, standing at the fucking the bank vault. Do you think this is Scotland Yard? Just stand in the position, don't move, just freeze. Like I can only move with some bitches like trying to take a picture or something like that. Like what is happening? Why are you not treating people like people? It doesn't look good? Is that the only reason? Yeah, Buckingham Palace. There you go. Wait. I don't know. I'm not from the UK. Scotland Yard, Buckingham Palace, MI6. What the fuck ever. What the fuck ever. I don't know. Tea and crumpets, spotted dick. I don't know. I don't care. You know what the fuck I was going. You know where I was going. What's good, James? How does this work out when it comes to people? Yeah. Thank you, Rick. Crepes. Yeah, that too. Fuck those things too. And I just ask, what's the reward? What is the reward for all of that? You wind up being more broken and not have enough time for yourself. I think we bought into this idea that time is all about maximizing output. But if you have stationary jobs where you don't really do anything, what targets are you hitting? How is that fueling the soul? Yeah, you said a paycheck. You'll spend that paycheck taking care of your fucking the fucking injuries you're gonna have in your damn foot. The injuries you have in your foot for standing up like livestock. Well, you know what, Resla? If cows and horses could do it, they also have. Oh, I could slap fire out of someone for saying that. Do their knees move like mine? Can I just lock my legs in place and just be comfortable? Yeah, he's corns, bunions. Even the people who are sitting in the poorest areas get more things to help them with. They don't turn around and say, you know what, we just need a team lift. No, if something's really that fucking heavy, you know what they do? They get a forklift. They invent things like pallet jacks. They don't just say, no, get the two burliest, bulkiest motherfuckers you got, put straps around their shoulders and they pull it. Why? Because if we could do that for our strongman competition, we could do it for grunts working in the factory floor. So if you can be reasonable and create things in logistics to help move things around, why logistically we're not thinking about things that can help preserve people who are overseeing business or assets or whatever? I love how, like, cashiers, right? They'll ask cashiers to be on the floor and a sales floor for hours. And the most that they'll say, right? The most that they'll say is, we're going to get you this mat that feels a little softer than the floor. But you're still going to stand up for 8, 9, 10 hours. No little stool, no nothing. I'll be watching the freaking, the pregnant women. She better, I got a cop car coming by. She better be able to sit. You got the other heifers on the line. Look at her like she thinks she's special because she's pregnant. I don't get to sit on a stool. She pregnant. She thinks she's special. Heifer, you need to stand on your feet too. She's like, I'm pregnant. And then the other girls are going, so I can work and get a stool if I just had somebody bossing me. Crazy work. The things that have to creep into people's mind for a little bit of comfort. A little bit of comfort. Crazy. I have. So I have. But again, not everybody is created equal. Because a lot of people have fun doing these things, but that doesn't mean that they also don't break down. That doesn't mean they don't run into injuries. That doesn't mean that they're always going to be kept in the most best shape. Even over time, people get tired. The ideal is not always the people, it's the job. And it's also about how to preserve the sanity of people. And jobs typically don't think about preserving the sanity of people. The lower you are, the more of a number you are. Not a person, you're a number. What's good, GS? And that's unfortunate, but it's also true. So when the reward for hitting a target is just, as I just say, a paycheck, Sure. But then when you get that paycheck, right? Because also, let's just say you said menial task, right? Do menial tasks really pay really well? Or these are the same people who are always asking for extra shifts to try to make up the money? They're not always happy because they have to keep trying to make up the money. Hey, you got overtime? Hey, you got overtime? Hey, you got overtime? And you see mofos like me, again, not doing menial tasks, but like I say, like, I don't want overtime. My bosses come to me and go, "Hey, I was wondering if you could stay extra because we need this." Oh, you know that we have that meeting that's coming up. Oh crap! Like, do you mind coming in that day? People like me, like when my phone goes off random weird times, so all of a sudden, hey, this is not gonna mention name. Hey, this is so and so. We have an alarm that's going off at the location. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what? Yeah, we're calling you because you are on the call list. And then I have no choice but to go out there and go check it. And keep in mind, folks, once I am on the clock, minimum, I don't care if I'm only there for 25 minutes. I get paid 4 hours. Me looking at PD, talking, doing a sweep, whatever. Oh, that's not even night shift work. That's just me having to arrive when the facility is closed. I used to like working night shifts, James. That night differential, I used to love it. I used to love because nobody would be there. The entire night crew would be chill. Loved it. Never had to deal with it. No one calling my line. No, and listen, I used to tell the night crew, yo, keep yourself good. Don't make me write any reports. I do not want to write reports. You have a good night. I have a good night. We all have a good night. See you in the morning time. Yo. In fact, the sunrise, we all out of here. What? 10 in the morning. If the sunrise, there's no injuries tonight. Yo, 8 o'clock. I'm gonna start hitting the rounds. Breakfast is on me. They're like, breakfast is on you. Breakfast is on me. We starting at this time of night. We make it all the way. Say 8 a.m. We out at basically 10. We get through here. Ain't no injuries. Breakfast on me. They be like, oh shit, yeah. Don't hide no injuries because I'm gonna see it. It's gonna be on camera. I'm gonna see it. No injuries. Keep it safe. Keep it clean. I know some of y'all be rushing because I got a quota. I got to put this. You can do it, but I need you to be smart. And they're like, okay, Resla, we can do that. We can do that. We ain't gonna be stupid today. Don't spin the forklift, hit the fucking, hit one of the racks or hit the pillow, whatever. No, I don't want no damage. I don't want to do no paperwork. None. We clear? And they're like, we clear. I used to love that about overnight shifts. I used to love that. Yeah. We get night differential. If you work overnight, you get night differential. And on top of that, if you're working a holiday and you get the night differential and you getting that overtime, ooh, you get that time and a half. Ooh, I used to love it. We didn't do manufacturing. I wasn't working at a manufacturing company. The last manufacturing company I worked at didn't have an overnight team. They closed at the facility at a particular time. And I was just getting started before I got down to this road of compliance. I put in an app request. Listen, I used to love overnight shifts. It used to be great. But even in some of one of the facilities that I am looking at right now, they close pretty early. And I'm like, really? There's no one gonna be here? Like, nope, nobody's gonna be here. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, just security. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Guys, have a good night. I'm out of here. They love it. I asked them how they feel about it. No, everything is good. But again, security doesn't need to stand up all day. I used to know what it was like doing that too. I used to, when I was working security way back when, I can't believe I could say way back when, I think it was like 2013, 2014. I used to do security over at the Fine Arts. It was like a FBI, TSA, fine arts storage. Everything that got logged in there was stuff that got logged, like stuff that taken from the FBI, and they stored it in a warehouse. And we had to do a lot of security checks. A lot. I barely got to sit down. If I did sit down, it was about a half hour. But we were up all the time. Sometimes it'd be a two-man job. That was a pretty good shift too. That was a good one. I liked working there as well. That was also 12 hours, I believe. But it's so weird when you try to ask for these type of things and people don't want to do it. And I'm just like, why? Why wouldn't you want more time to yourself? Why? Why would you not want that? Bottom line, huh? And you know what? That might be a good slogan. Make work play again. I'm trying to remember the last time I heard someone say, I like my job. Like, I really enjoy being at my job. I don't recall. When was the last time I heard that. I hear that it's a nice place. I heard it's real chills, relax. I heard that the managers don't really be riding you like that. But I haven't heard anyone in a while say, I like my job. I like getting up and going to work. Whether they are parents or they don't have children or they're married or whatever. You don't. That's a fact. There you go. Pay the lease. That's actually a slogan on YouTube. On the tubes. Even the people who like are software engineers, even they have said this. Oh no, why I don't like my job or why I quit my job as a software engineer. Punching the clock is rough. It's rough. It's just what people have to get used to. But when I think about this whole thing about the fact that living isn't just about punching the clock, I think it's about living with intentions. I think it's about living. It's about doing the things that actually give you joy, having the time to do the things that actually give you joy. It's about fulfilling some of the other markers, not just hitting the quota for the company, but actually hitting the quotas for yourself. And that requires time for you to do. That gives you meaning. Hey, I can take care of this, but I can also do that, which is why people also run on this whole thing about work-life balance, right? Work-life balance. Well, if I'm trying to create balance for life and they're telling me no, because we need you here the majority of the week, how are you getting work-life balance? Do you think that your job is gonna say, you know what, Uncle Fatty, absolutely, you can have an extra day off. We'll give you the extra 2 hours on your other shifts, and or 4 hours on your other shifts, and you can spend time, the other extra days because you want to work on your marriage. You want to make sure that it's good because you don't have. They don't be caring. Oh, you having marriage problems? Oh, you don't want overtime? I was just thinking about asking for extra time. I didn't know you wanted to decrease a day. No, we cannot give you those extra hours because we have a 10-hour shift minimum. Because if we don't want you burning out too quickly, they'll make up everything under the sun just to make sure you come in a fifth day. Even if your job is easy, what if your job actually is you sitting on your ass most of the time? Hey, I was just wondering if I could just spend the extra 4 hours. 4 hours? Why? You sit down all day. Yeah, but I would love the extra time to myself because little Johnny says that he doesn't see his dad enough. Oh, little Johnny, he doesn't see you enough. Oh, oh, wow. Well, you can tell little Johnny that he can either wake up a little earlier to spend time with his dad. That means waking you up, by the way. Or as a parent, and normally I wouldn't advise this, you let little Johnny go to sleep later. Okay, cool. Great talk. Great talk. Damn. That's how we doing things? That's the work-life balance that you guys are looking for? Mm? Is that the kind of PTO that you have to put in your time for? Just because you want to spend extra time doing things that you would like to do, but you don't necessarily want to kill your PTO budget or pretend that you're sick. Hey, I just need a mental health day. Hey, I was about to come in, but I got the bubble guts, so I can't. Yeah, the cheeks is really rumbling. I can't get off the toilet. I'm calling you right now to tell you that I thought I was going to be late, but now I'm just telling you I'm going to call out because the cheeks are still rumbling. Yeah, I'm sitting in the toilet right now. You flushing behind you? Yeah, yeah. I have to flush like 4 times now. Like, yeah, my ass cheeks is hurting. I can't get up right now. Just every time I think I'm good, like every time I think I'm gonna wipe and I'm gonna be good, it's just like, oh, stomach again. So I can't. Sorry. You gotta make up excuses. You can't go to work just so you can spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. Is this what it's gonna come down to for people in life? Is that what it's gonna come down to? Oh, here we go. Here we go. No, people don't want to put on Huggies. They don't want to do it. Cause who wants to work on the floor? You still smell, by the way. You'll still smell. Put on some Huggies. You gotta change sometime afterwards. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't do it. Where's Jeremy? I don't know. Probably putting corn queso into someone. You know, that's his thing. So he's probably doing right now. He's probably got someone in there right now like, hey, I just need you to eat this whole thing of nachos. Whole thing. Get some extra corn. Oh, it's on me. It's on me. It's all good. That could be what he's up to. Who knows? We don't know what Jeremy be doing on the side. But the idea is that are we being really productive with our time? Was he on Discord? I think when it comes to people and we're pushing this whole hustle mentality. Actually, the funny part of this whole hustle mentality, even in my current job right now, I'm doing things so quickly. I'm asking so many questions. They're like, "Oh, slow down," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to slow down. I don't want to slow down because I want this whole shit unlocked so that I can have me a process that's so lit that I can actually relax. Because the better that I am at my job, the more free time I have to myself, and the more free time I have to myself, the more time I have to dedicate to the things that I want to do." What you say? Fair question, fair answer. You won't know if you were productive until after you have spent the time. Yay, yes and no. But the ideal is that once you've gotten your stride of understanding what your tasks are and you knock those things out, then you can find out, you can have more time later on. And I think the issue that we have in a lot of spaces, a lot of places, a lot of jobs, is that the moment you get into a routine of knocking out your task early, when it's noticed, they give you more tasks. They don't just let you fucking rock. This is what I say, like, let's just say you work by quota. If you knock out the process and you got to take 8-hour shift and you knock that shit out in 5, you should get to go home. I did my work. You know what they're going to say? No, go help out somebody. Go help out Jody. Jody's over there struggling. Why? Because you're still on the clock. I'm done. I did my part. I don't recall it saying that I have to help Jody. I don't recall my responsibility saying I have to help Jody. No, Jody just needs to get better. I even gave him my process. He won't do it. Why I gotta not suffer and help him? Well, just need you to do something. Here's this broom. Go sweep up I guess when you're on a factory, go sweep up the factory floor. What? Let me go. You have a whole housekeeping team. Why? Jody needs to quit cheating on the bed. Damn. But Jody shows up to work. He just slow at work. He's slow at work. Why should I have to help him? Why can't I leave early? I did my part. I did my job. Unless I'm a manager and I have to look after other people in the team, I did my job as a regular employee. Why can't I go? Unfortunately, they look at it as it is. It is considered productive when you're in the service industry. Yeah, products and service are two different things. I agree. I agree. There's a difference between someone who works by quota and then someone who actually, like, for instance, like people who have a lot of time on their hand, but a lot of time is also spent. Truck drivers. Truck drivers, once they get to their location, they drop off their truck or whatever. They're chilling because now it's up to the warehouse or factory place, whatever, that has to come get the shit, whatever. But I came here, I got my shit dropped up. I'm just waiting for him to go get it in, get the slip signed, make sure that we confirm the products, which is really on their side. I just got the log, the driver's log, or the inventory log, or whatever, and cool, whatever. But let's just say you're working at K's Jewelry. If you're selling jewelry, you're there all day. There's no quota for you. There's no, and even as a truck driver, like, yes, you have to keep your eye on the road because, like, you can't be tired or whatever. But it's once you got into a habit of just knowing how to pull a haul, you're pretty good. It's just a matter of being careful where you are on the road. But anyone who drives pretty much does that. Walmart delivery drivers pretty much have to do that. Amazon delivery drivers have to do that. Like, but they're pulling more vans, but there are semis for them. But so I get that, but the job is not crazy. Being a delivery driver is not crazy. Picking up the shit to put on your truck, filling your truck up, that can be a pain in the ass. But once you get into the rhythm and you have everything in there, just do the job. That's it. If you like spending time and serving in that aspect, yeah. But I'm not sure if a lot of people do, because now you're asking people what we asked before. Do you like doing your job? Most people I run into say it's a job. I don't really run into people these days. I used to. When I was younger, I used to hear people say, I like my job. Hell, I used to be a person that said, I like my job. Now, people like either it's just a job or I've been doing it for so long, or yeah, I don't like it, but it is what it is. It pays the bills. I'm just here for the paycheck, blah, blah, blah. Put in your normal talking points. I don't think everybody looks at the aspect of working a job or as being in the same aspect of serving. Let's be honest. You could say that for people who work in the food industry, actual servers, actual waitress staff or whatever. They're just done in it. I mean, sure, we could do that too. I'll do that. Let's see how we go from there. Oops. No, that's not what I want. I gotta go here. Here we go. And I'll pin it to the top for you guys. We'll see what kind of contention that you have. I think that a lot of us are just looking for a lot. Working as a servant is a luxury. Yay and nay. I think that really depends on the job that you are. Some people love it. I'm not gonna lie. I worked at some places where especially being in servant leadership, I loved it. In other places, I looked at it and I said, I don't want nothing to do with that place. I can just see it's gonna be hell. It depends. Yeah, it depends. What's going on, Josh?
Not much. I think the first part I kind of understood, but see it as regret. Like if you're looking back and saying, basically you're measuring like, I did this when I should have done that. It's basically just straight up regret. Usually after the case, right? Like at that time period in the past, you thought that was important. You try to justify like why you made that decision, right? Probably to make yourself feel better. But for some odd reason, sitting back at this present time and looking backward, it's just flat out regret. The concept that it seems like a lot of people are asking like in different directions about how time should be spent. I don't think there's one answer to that. Not everybody's capable of the same thing. We all do what we can do.
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't think it's how we spend our time is the thing that people are looking at. Like that's all about how much. When we think about how we spend our time, it's all the factor of how much time do we actually have left to us. The thing that I'm wondering about is the time that we spend alone.
Oh fuck. I'm starting to spend a lot more time alone, finally.
That's because you have more time right now.
No.
You haven't acquired more time? Or has your situation changed so that you don't seem as much busy as you were? So for instance, like I was saying earlier, when I was here, I was on a clock, but I could still do more of the things I wanted to do because I was in the confines of the things that I had projects in. And when I'm somewhere else and I'm thinking about things at home, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, situation changed. I guess the last 6-7 years, I could kind of like do the whole, like, I don't know, be a dad thing kind of thing. And now I can't, I don't even have much time to wipe my own ass. I'm surprised I actually got my damn shower done this morning. The situation changed and I ended up becoming responsible for a lot of other people. Picked up their workload, having to deal with their duties. I'm not sure I'm filling those shoes. And I regret. Like I wish right this moment, I wish I was back where I was.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
Which is kind of messed up because it's okay. So I wish I was back in Vietnam right now because I'm thinking the last 7 years. I really that was my time. That was I could hang out with the kid. I could go to school. Like I do all kinds of shit with the kid whenever the hell I wanted. Right now, I cannot. If I leave now, I basically abandoned my parents in the worst possible time. And I'm thinking also because I have to now take over all of the family businesses. I have to deal with that. I have to deal with all of the assets that they can't cover. I'm screwed. Because if I walk away, I also lose my own, or at least I cut a lot of my own inheritance. And I don't even know if it's even useful, right? Because some of this shit I look at and I'm like, I don't care about this. Let it burn to the ground. I just don't care. And I know that my parents would in future tense roll over in their graves if I did such a thing. So you got that guilty conscience on top of me, and I'm like, fuck. I'm basically being dragged in 10 different directions. And the idea of time, don't have. If I'm not taking my parents to a doctor's appointment or whatever, I'm then stuck having to deal with like some of the businesses that they were dealing with. Half this shit I don't even know how to deal with. And then on top of that, I want to be here at the farm constantly. I don't know how to run a damn tractor. I done wrecked a damn thing in the side of the building once already. Like, I'm screwing shit up, and I'm just like, I don't belong here, but I want to be here until the time basically kind of gets overwhelming, and then I'm like, fuck it, maybe I shouldn't be here. So it's and we talk about the concept of how much time do we have. I don't know. Like, I know there's 24 hours in a clock or in a day. I know what my tasks are at hand, but they're not like daily tasks, right? Like, it's like I've got a week to get it done, or I've got 2 weeks to get it done. And as long as nothing else comes to get in my way, maybe I might get it completed, but usually that's not the case. There's always something popping up. It's not my time. That's what I'm learning. It's not my time. It belongs to somebody or something else.
If I may, Josh, yeah, it sounds to me like you came around just in time.
Maybe
You're needed is what it sounds like.
Needed. I think everybody could use an extra hand, right? Like, my parents probably could figure this shit out. Well, not my mom. She got dementia now. Now she's fucking losing it, right? She couldn't organize shit. But Dad could, if he could emotionally hold his shit together for 5 minutes. He probably could figure it out. But isn't that my job? Like, I don't know. I'm just looking at it like that's my job as a kid, right? Is they get old, my job is to look after them. Yep. They change my diapers and wipe my ass. Like, aren't I supposed to do the same for them as they get older?
Roles reverse. Yeah, that's exactly.
Roles reverse. Yeah.
Well, that's a question that a lot of people are struggling with now. That's something you're supposed to do. It was something we used to do.
I feel guilty. Or at least I think, because I haven't walked away, right? I'm only speculating on what future emotion would be. But I feel like if I got on an airplane, I would probably just basically, like, the guilt would make me throw myself out of the airplane at 40,000 feet.
You'd probably come back home. You probably wouldn't throw yourself out.
Yeah, I don't know. If I walked out
40,000 feet.
I think if I walked out the door right now, my old man would be so pissed. And he's never in his life ever been. We've never had a fight. We've never had a conflict ever. My stepdad, by the way, like, been around like 25, 27 years. Never had a conflict. Not one.
Yeah.
He says jump. I don't even bother to ask how high. I just jump and hope I don't fuck up.
Yeah, I tend to be the same way with my parents. They say do it. I'm like, okay.
But I don't work for anybody else. I'm supposed to go to ATF, but the more I'm sitting here thinking about this, I don't have time for that. I just don't. Like, I don't even have time to pick up a job for myself. I don't own my own ass, apparently. So, like, it's what I listen to people, like, I listen to people talk about, like, oh, I got a job. And I'm like sitting here like, damn, I missed that.
It kind of goes to Resla's point about, time for yourself, right? What kind of time do you have for yourself? And, like, okay, so there's kind of a twofer there. Yes, you're always by yourself. There's nobody else in your body. But number two is that your time is never yours, because you do want to get out there. You do want to help people. You do want to get into society and get involved and that sort of thing.
Society. I just want to go, like, basically, I want to go fishing. I don't have time to go fishing.
Well, go fishing then.
I can't. Like, I don't have time for that. And the sad part is, like, I think 2,000 yards in one direction, I got a big ass lake. They ain't got time to throw a pole in there.
Isn't that crazy though? Just how society has a structure to say that we spend the majority of our time, once we're able to work 16 for some people, 15. Some people work earlier than that. But let's just say officially 18, all the way into your retirement years. You spend the majority of your waking time structuring time to experience life outside of working for someone.
So there was this guy I used to work for, older guy, drill sergeant. He was a drill sergeant in the Army. It was his store, and everything was either, how long is it going to take you? 2 seconds? How long is it going to take you? 2 minutes? How long is it going to take you? 20 minutes? That was literally his way of saying, just do it, right? So when it came to the tasks, right? But I used to hear that all the time from him, and I feel like he was pretty much accurate on that. There are some tasks that might take a couple minutes. There are some tasks that'll take 20 minutes, but there are literally tasks that take you like 2 seconds to do. And those 2-second tasks tend to get pushed to the wayside because you feel like you can do them real quick. So you just like walk by it. Like, I got to put those papers away, but I'll leave them there, and I'll leave them there, and I'll leave them there. And then by the time that I'm putting those papers away, I'm putting 10 stacks of papers away, 20 stacks of papers away. Right. And so, I feel like, in a lot of this, getting ahead is key. But that's not always easy because your mind is here, your mind is there, and you've only got one mind, so it's tough. Like, the balance, and it's not a work-life balance. People who don't enjoy their work, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you don't enjoy it, it just ain't worth it. Like, if you don't see some type of mental benefit from it, I don't feel like it's worth it. That's me personally. I've worked a lot of labor jobs, and I love that. I love working with my hands. That's what I love to do. I don't feel right sitting behind a desk. I don't. I feel like I need to go do something. But I've been doing it. I've been sitting behind the desk, and I'm getting used to it, and I feel the difference. But it's just not
the
quite
same.
as satisfying to me.
Yeah. So I'm kind of the other way around now. I worked a lot with my hands, and now I'm at a point of where I've been doing the desk thing, and I guess it's because I don't go through the same aches and pains. Like, I guess also the thing I liked about more physical jobs is that it kept me in shape. I would be more inspired to go to the gym to make sure that I can keep up to be able to do the physical task. And now that more of my task is now document related, but also because I don't spend a lot of time moving around as much, I'm kind of losing out on that physical fitness.
Definitely.
But I do like what I do. Yeah. Even though it's I don't know, I don't want to say rewarding. I don't want to say that.
Well, what I'm doing definitely is rewarding. I do enjoy it, but seeing that physical transformation of a yard or building a structure, that sort of thing, that's just, to me, is so much more satisfying. With the visual, with the feel good, and you've worked, your body is literally aching, you're tired, you're fixing to go home and just completely crash out, but you feel good about it. Like, your body isn't just like, I could go another 10 hours. No, you can't. You're satisfied at the end of the day. You're content. It's not a work-life balance. It's a life balance. It's life.
When I worked more physical jobs, when I worked in production, it paid really well. We were working sometimes it seemed like insane hours, back to back to back. But that big stretch that we had of time to ourselves, and to still see a really good paycheck. And then some people, they want to keep working back and back and back all the time because it pays well, but they don't even give themselves time off because they want to live a very good life.
You were talking about overtime earlier. I'm going to tell you, as soon as I stopped taking those extra jobs and then stopped taking that overtime, my life, I felt so much different. I felt better. I would be satisfied with the work that I did when I was doing the overtime and the extra jobs. But I was more satisfied. I felt comfortable coming home. I felt like there's time for me to sit back and relax to enjoy these other things that I knew I wanted to enjoy, but I wasn't able to. So there was a balance there. I still enjoyed the work, right? So that was just another part of life. But then the recreation of life, that time when I wasn't working, because work's not supposed to be play. Work's the stuff that nobody else wants to do, right? Or that you don't want to do, so you pay somebody else to do it, right?
Does it have to be though? Can't work be fun? Can't work be exciting?
It typically is not. It typically requires you to do because even if you want to be quote successful or really good at something, you have to be good at doing the things that are very much uncomfortable.
And you trade some of the things that you do like doing and you call it work and pay somebody else. So for instance, if you want to eat fish tonight, or Joshua, if you want to eat fish tonight, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to go buy it. You got to work and you pay, and then you can have fish. You can't go catch it, which is the fun part, right? So it's the work part that you've paid somebody else to do to get that fish, unfortunately. So it is something you would enjoy. So
that shit just depresses the fuck out of me. Literally. Got trout in the fucking lake, right? No. Can't get him, but I can go. He's right. I can't go right to the store 20 minutes the other direction.
Alexandria, I see it differently. So I try to avoid overtime as much as possible. So you said the good thing about it is that you spend more time working, by the way. Most people don't want to spend extra time working. But you get more money that you said you can save. But you also are getting taxed.
Yes, you are. Yes.
It's
one of the reasons I even looked at it in the first place.
Yeah, taxes.
More money means more taxes.
And that's a huge thing when it comes to overtime, because they tax you, it seems like more for overtime.
Yeah, you can end up with less on your paycheck than
your 40 hour fact. Week. Yep. That is for sure happened. Which is why I say I'm good.
When you hit 40, it's like between 44 and 46. If you're like in that area, guess what? You get less. You actually do. It's like in that area, right? So when you hit like 41, 42, it's like 43, maybe a little less. I believe it's either a little bit less or a little bit over 43. That's where it changes over. And
I try my best not to get overtime. I even had this conversation with my boss recently, and I was like, hey, I noticed I'm about to do overtime. I don't want to. I was looking at the scheduling and then things that I had to do and things that you had other people come in that I had to, and I'm about to be overtime. He's like, don't worry about it. No, I worry about it. I don't.
What's wild to me about that is that they're getting taxed too. So it's wild that they even want you to do that. Like, why? I don't.
Yeah.
Just hire somebody else.
Well, I think they get tax cuts from all that, though. I don't think they get taxed.
No, not from that.
They don't get tax cuts from you working overtime.
You get,
sir. Just to employ you, they pay more money. Mm-hmm. They pay more money for you.
I thought that having an employee would be
having an employee. It costs more to have an employee than actually what the employee makes.
And every state is different.
I didn't. Yeah, I thought it was a break because I never hired people when I had my own business. I never hired people, so I don't know.
You just working for yourself.
Big enough to hire people, so
you have to pay unemployment rates. Unemployment rates can also be based on how many people you fucking fire in a year. You can make that
the retraining process.
I don't hire more people. They just get the best people to do the overtime.
That's the problem with a lot of people who aren't working right now, James. we're gonna have to do more with less is what's burning people out.
Yeah.
But it also means that unless you have a fire fucking product, you know what it means? A lot of people are spending way more time, putting way more effort, putting way more overtime. And you know what your bosses say? Because the ROI, that return is not, that revenue is not turning out to be the way they thought it was. They start getting mad. James, you gotta stop doing overtime. Motherfucker, you're the one that had me scheduled like this.
Yeah, and then they get you to
Hire somebody
cut
else.
hours, I guess. 'Cause
Get somebody part-time.
seen
Even
places
someone part-time.
that
It's gonna cost them.
cut hours.
I'm not taking a cheap shot at you or nothing, James. I'm a little confused here as to why so many people think that life works out of this like simplistic way. Like say like the idea of like employing people is just about paying a salary, right? Like that's the only thing that it costs you.
With respect, most people don't know how businesses run.
Yeah, because
When I come in and I explain to people some of the processes, and like, I don't understand. Why can't they just spend? I know we got this much back. I'm like, they have to pay the bills. They have to pay their shareholders. They have to pay the thing that you're really getting pissed off about. They have to pay bonuses. So those the thing that really you get mad about. Yeah. And then after all that, they got to pay you and your insurance and what compensation match that they put out for you.
All the taxes involved.
You don't understand. Like you might make 40,000, whatever, but you cost a little over 80. You have no clue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, Alex. Legal.
Oh yeah, legal
is cost. Especially if it's a bigger business. Like smaller businesses, you can do some of it on your own, but you are still actually going to have to pay at least for your insurance and LLC, which is legal. But then you might actually need some legal advice, like real legal
advice. A lawyer on retainer, because I had to put a lawyer on retainer when I had my business and everything. I figured that would be a smart thing to do.
I mean, a lot of people don't want to turn around and have to do. Let's just say if you have employees. You really want to be the people with the person who has to crunch all that, unless you hire an accounting staff, even your CPA will cost.
Yeah, your CPA costs money, a lot of money actually. For CPA, I had a CPA when I had my little business.
I haven't. I
wasn't making money. I was losing money in that business.
That's a fact, James. That's a fact.
I haven't.
It's not surprising.
I haven't filed my own taxes since I was 19 years old. I'm 40 now. Somebody has always done it for me. Same thing with corp taxes. I can't do that shit. If I were to sit down in table right now with that paperwork, I'd literally off myself. I couldn't take it.
You'd be lost, right?
But that's why that's really work. And that's why you really do pay somebody else to do that.
Yeah, that's why you get a CPA. Yep.
Yeah, CPA. Somebody who likes to crunch numbers.
I don't think they like doing it. I think they do the job.
They don't like it, but it pays well.
No, that's not true.
If you were no, because there are still plenty of people like how Joshua said, there are plenty of people who they make all their money tax time. They send reminders.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna tell you right now, my dad does actually like to do it. Typically, what he'll tell the guys that want him to, because he doesn't have enough time to do everybody's taxes, but he does taxes for people, and all he wants is a bottle. That's literally
if you want a bottle, that's simple. But some other people they want that cut. Woo!
No, I mean he's great, man. He loves doing it. He's done it his whole entire life. He loves doing it. He's a numbers guy.
Yeah, my accounting firm is Jewish. It's been the same Jewish family since before, like my grandfather.
Huh.
Like it's the same family. Their family, my family, they've always done business together. They ain't taking no bottle. They'll damn sure take money though.
Yeah, they ain't taking no bottle.
A lot of it. But it is what it is. I can't do it. I can't. I'm incapable of doing it. My mother has set me down and tried several different times in different years. And I'm just like, fuck this.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't well set, I'm sure that he would be charging. But because he's got, retirement 3 times over, he's not really worried about it. So that's why he just tells them, just give me a bottle. At least, you know, that way they feel like they've compensated something. And it
So-
can be a cheap bottle. He don't care.
You said something, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to misquote you. I apologize here. So the idea was we do the things that we do in hopes of getting time later, or that it will result in getting time later. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think we do it with the hopes of getting time. Like, I'm going to do a thing now, hopefully, like, I'm going to suffer now, so I'll get like a better result. In this case, I guess it'd be about the time, if that's your goal in the future. I'm just thinking that it's mostly just a hope game.
Well, the new strategy, even though it's way old now, but the new strategy is that you hustle hard now so that you have free time later and you're younger, versus the old strategy of you sit comfortably working for somebody else, and then when you're old and gray and you're crinkly and your neck and your back and you've had a couple of surgeries and you ran through the mill of having kids and everything, now in your old age you can do whatever you want. Like, motherfucker, I am incapable of it.
Yeah, I ain't got no time whatsoever. I want to go back 10, 15. I
Didn't
want to
you
go back and be
always
a teenager.
Didn't you always want to go to Maui and being on the fucking beach? Yeah, when I was in my 20s, 30s.
Yeah, I don't
Now
want
that
to
I'm in my 50s with fucking so close to skin cancer and everything.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the beach.
Spring break takes on a whole new meaning. It means broken hip.
Hey, Resla, do black people need sunscreen at the beach?
I don't hang out at the beach. I wouldn't know.
I don't. I haven't been to the beach since like 10, 15 years. I'm not doing that shit because, yeah, I sunburn easily, and I don't want to sleep like that ever again. I was just curious. I had to ask.
I don't like sand.
Yeah, salt water sucks too.
Yeah, what the hell? Women talk about sex on the beach. You get that shit up in your
No,
ass crack.
no.
That's uncomfortable. No.
Yeah.
Sorry, James.
I don't like, listen, I get pissed. If I'm dealing with sand, I get pissed about it just being in my fingernails. Do you think I want it anywhere else? Sand, it takes probably a month to get sand out of your sneakers.
It does. It takes a while to get sand out of your.
It took me like 3 months to still kick out freaking sand out of my sneakers when I went to Jamaica. I was like, I can't believe this is. When I was putting my bags in storage, I was still banging out sand. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I ain't surprised because I went to Myrtle Beach. Took me a little while to get the sand out of my shoes.
And y'all want to be.
One time that I
ladies want to be all up on the beach. Some have sex on the beach. All right, you wonder why your sandy vagina got a 7-year itch. I said what I said.
Making pearls.
And random seashells.
Well, I'm old now, so fuck all that. I just want to starfish. I'm just gonna lay in bed and I'm gonna starfish. It's her turn. I busted.
It's her turn.
Yeah. I busted my ass the last 20 years. Right. I think I've earned my I've earned my right to just lay there in bed now. Gonna start. That's gonna be my new pickup line.
I agree with that too, Alex. No pool, no hot tub sex. Do you understand how many people have gotten gonorrhea having sex in the freaking hot tub?
Wait, public hot tub? Y'all don't like bleach?
Public hot tub.
Why would you be doing that in public?
You want to have sex in the sir?
Why would you be doing that in public?
Public.
No, I said, why would you be in public?
Even if you went to like a resort, look, James. Even if you went to a resort, right? Do you know who were the last people that were probably in the hot tub?
Yeah, but I said
nastiest people.
Did y'all not hear me correctly? I said, why would you want to do that in public?
Because some people like to believe that they are being kinky when the truth of the matter is just being nasty.
Because it's called get a room.
No, they have a room. And their room comes with a jacuzzi or a hot tub. And they said, why don't we do it here? Not thinking about, first of all, it's one thing to say if I walk into a place and go, oh, look, there's a hot tub. No water? Let's make sure they clean it, have water in it, blah, blah, blah. They come in and they go, here's what happened, ladies. Oh, look, there's a hot tub. Can't wait to try that out. Water's been sitting there.
It's green. You look at that water, you know good and well you ain't finna get in that. Nope, we ain't doing that.
I'm not even thinking about jumping into a tub or pool, whatever that got debris in it. I'm like,
Yeah, if you can't bother to
when was this drained?
I'm pretty sure you ain't gonna be bothered to.
Wait, when I was in Vegas, there was a whole pool. There was a whole pool in the back. You don't know when's the last time that water was drained or whatever. I don't give a fuck what scooping out the shit from because it blows wind or whatever. That doesn't mean that I don't know what the fuck is happening in that pool. There's no way I'm jumping in that little cesspool or swamp.
Yep. About 2 hours ago, little Johnny and little Timmy and Joanne, little Barbara, they were all in there. You know, they were in there and they were having a good old time splashing around. And now you gonna hop in there?
Nah.
No.
Yep. Yeah, he brought up Vegas, and ain't none of y'all gonna ask him about the hooker in Vegas that he met.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, and he's not gonna know what you're talking about.
Hey, if you,
well, he just won't
film it. If you film it after you pay her, or before, if you pay her and then film it, it's legal.
Kevin cut that part out.
It's legal.
Kevin cut that part out. We ain't got no information.
I don't know what you're talking about. You have to speak to Kev.
Mm-hmm. I know. I already asked Kev. He got you covered. Apparently, he's got your back.
Not my guy.
No snitch and roll bullshit around here. That's what I hate.
Blind. I literally am talking about kids getting in there. The kids. I'm not talking about grown folks. I'm talking about the kids. The kids getting in that water, and then you get in after them nasty little youngins got in there. You get in that water after them nasty little pooing on themselves kids get in there. And that's just gross. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you go to the hotel, right, that's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with,
Well, even if they were midgets, you don't know what they're gonna be doing. You don't. The truth of the matter is this: you just don't know what the last people, tall, small, little people, freaking kids, you don't know what they were doing prior to you got in there. You don't even know how many bodies were in there. For all you know, there was a little frat party of STDs. Everybody just chilling, blowing farts, everything inside that tub with the jets and everything.
Coming through there, yeah.
Here you are. You're going to be the next person renting it and getting in that tub because you don't know when's the last time they drained it, cleaned it, how they cleaned it, none of that. And here you are. You're going to pop in there.
Alcohol and bleach, don't take that shit off.
Blind probably going to walk in there with no drawers or anything, just.
Yep.
I don't do public pools. I barely do pools at home. What's public ones? Because I don't even like pools.
Yeah, so like I'll tell you where I go, where I like to go.
Yo, that's a fact. Like you might as well use somebody else's bathwater.
So the rivers in Florida have springs, right? And it's crystal clear, like freezing cold, ice cold water, aquifer fed. I mean, just beautiful, gorgeous. And that's where a lot of people go in Florida just to go swimming. There's some people who, there's a lot of pools and stuff, but the people who know.
They also got alligators and water moccasins in their rivers.
Yeah, they do. Man.
Nasty gars.
You either get to die from the STDs or some other animal eating you. One or the other. Pick one.
You got to make a choice. That's right.
Damn.
But no, the gators won't go into the cold water like that.
Not the offshoot of the springs, right? But I mean, well, I don't know if they're hungry enough. Maybe,
but they do get into the river, right?
Yes, they do. There are too many things out there. Listen, I almost got hit by a little fucking boar. My legs almost got taken out by a boar. And there was another time I was in the parking lot and I could not get to my car because little Bobcat was sitting on that bitch because he wanted the warmth. And I was just like,
oh, you froze. He froze it.
Yeah, he froze.
My coworkers are just laughing.
He froze, by the way.
Oh, did I? Yeah, I was like, my coworkers just laughing Because I'm like, I had no idea how to deal with it, and it's just laying there chilling. So he wanted. I must have been there for at least a good solid 40 minutes, just waiting for him to leave.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in Florida, you know about the wildlife, and there's a lot of it. I would be more worried about the mosquitoes.
Y'all gonna just let that? Y'all gonna let that slide?
What?
Y'all just gonna let that slide? Alex, you heard that? Reza's afraid of a little pussy.
No, that was a big pussy. Bobcats ain't little. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, we can talk over now.
If the pussy's dangerous, absolutely.
Things got teeth, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a
I mean, that thing can rip you apart. So I mean, he's got.
You know what? But that doesn't stop Josh though.
Oh no, I ain't got no
You're
standards.
taking a risk.
Old, crippled, or retarded. If they can't walk, I'll drag them. I ain't got no kind of standards whatsoever.
18 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy.
That's right.
What the hell? What in the hell?
What's up,
God,
Mama?
Bobby.
You around? You around, Mama? I miss you.
No, she not.
I'm gonna have Resla calling me daddy here in a little while.
That got
Yeah, y'all can address him on that shit.
that got gay, dude.
I'm going after Mama. How is that gay? What do you say?
No,
about
you
Mama?
said you said something about Resla. And Resla's a dude.
Mama.
That is gay.
If I'm after Mama, then well, it's Resla's Mama. So you know, what does that make me?
So I have a question then, and this could be for the panel. If you had to choose one thing that you got 10 minutes, Joshua?
That was nothing. That was in my living room.
Oh, that was you. No,
That was in the living room. That was in my living room.
James got a girl over at his house.
No, that's my mom. So.
James is a pimp.
Damn.
This man just said he was a mob, and he said, "Yeah, James the pimp." Oh, yeah.
But continuing, what were you gonna say? Continuing.
James, if you could choose one thing that you feel like you never had enough time for, what would that be? Like the one thing that you wish you had more time for. And it can't be DNP. It can't be DNP. I already know that one.
DNP, what?
Damn, I like this question.
Wait a minute, what you said it could be DNP? What's that?
No DNP, because that's easy. Dick and pussy. No dick and pussy. Yeah. That's an easy.
Okay.
I don't even want to know which one you would choose either.
The P. The P? What are you talking about?
We already know you're a pimp.
I'm not gay, but okay. But either way, though,
the one thing.
Wait, James. How do you know you're not gay?
How do I know I'm not gay? Because I know I'm not gay.
Well, how do you know?
Can we not? Let's not go down that road.
Whoa.
Because that's all it's going to lead to is I know I'm not gay. You will say, how do you know? I know I'm not gay. How do you know? Because it's going to, I'm going to circle.
Would you happen to have any evidence or experience that would lay claim?
I kind of like Josh's question a little better than mine. It's a little better. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I like Britt.
Either way, the point is, and no, I'm not 47, Alex. No, I'm not 47. 47 is a long ways off from my age, but okay.
This is where we find out that James secretly has no F.
Damn.
What's no F? Like the opposite of OnlyFans? But the point is, you said that if I had to choose something that I could spend more time doing, was probably developing myself, and which I'm doing now. I'm spending a lot more time understanding myself and developing myself so I could become a better person and find out who I am and That way I'm ready for whenever I find the right woman.
So the D. I got you.
The what?
I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness.
You guys, anybody else?
I actually, yeah, I like this question. I'm a little biased right this moment, and it's probably because of the time period I'm in right now. But I think if I could go back and change anything, I think I would have kicked my mother to the curb and spent more time with my stepdad.
Damn.
My dad's actually like really fucking cool, and we never really had any altercations, but we also didn't get a lot of time together. I was always gone, and when I was home, it seems like I was always in competition with my own mother to hang out with my stepdad. And like, because wherever we went, like if we would go fishing, mom wanted to tag along, right? There wasn't very much just us dudes time kind of thing, right? And kind of sucks now because now he's getting on up there, and I'm finding out that, I got like a time limit here to deal with. And the old man, I'm just thinking like, fuck, I had a lot of opportunity and I relinquished it to my mother. I'm like, fuck her. She got to get married. She was married to him for like 27 years, right? And I think out of the entire total amount of time, maybe I would have had like 2 or 3 months worth of time to actually spend with him out of 27 years. Fuck her. Kick her ass. Go back. That woman robbed me. But if I had to go back and do it all over again, I'd have been a hell of a lot more aggressive and thrown mom out and said, nope, it's just us boys. We're going to hang out.
Throw mom off the train.
Yep. At the highest bridge possible.
Jeez, Louise.
With no water at the bottom. What's up, man?
Bye.
Now, I want to ask Brick and Josh the same question: how they know they're not gay?
What makes you what makes you think I'm heterosexual? Who started that rumor?
Okay.
You just heard me up here. I already told Resla he's going to call me daddy here soon.
Facts. That's facts. Okay, you Brick.
It's a very simple answer. I have no sexual attraction to males.
But how do you know? Have you?
It's just obvious.
Have you tested it? Have you?
Exactly.
That's a different question. That's a different question. So when I look at the screen and I see these 4 dudes here, there's no sexual thoughts going through my heads, right?
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
Yep. That's a pretty simple answer as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Well, technically, you're not looking at 4 dudes. You're looking at 3 dudes because there's 3 dudes here. Josh isn't showing his face, so technically you're only looking at 3 dudes.
Actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, that one over there with the diamond in the back. Now that one,
that's you. You can't.
Oh damn!
You can't count you.
Oh, shit.
That's even weirder if you're trying to compare yourself.
Yes, you can have a sexual fetish towards yourself. That is a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a
Really?
word
That's
for
the
it.
thing?
Yeah. Don't worry,
Sure.
James.
And what about
Keep that in
diapers?
mind.
Y'all ever heard? I knew a dude that liked to have his diaper changed. I swear to God, bro.
What the hell?
Alex said
You knew a guy who liked diaper chicks?
No, he'd like to have his diaper changed.
Oh, like that episode
Oh.
of CSI. Like that episode
Like,
of
he
CSI
had-
when they was
he had
investigating that
fetish
dude that had that same fetish. Because they investigated a dude on CSI or the original CSI that had that same fetish.
Oh, I seen it in real life. Like a buddy of ours had a mom that was like always in the mix, and he was like macking on her. Well, they started banging, and once they started banging, he's like, "Hey," I don't know how he told her, but she put him on blast. She was like, "Yeah, fool, you wanted me to have like diaper play with you, where I changed your diaper and you peed in the diaper."
That's so sad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, some
Would be
weird stuff
perfect
out there,
for
man.
him. Yeah.
There's some weirder stuff than that out there.
Like I said, I can't listen. I'm not. That's a little out of my wheelhouse. Sorry, Alex. That's out of my wheelhouse. I can't be out there with the whole hitting the Velcro. Like I can't.
And
I
you
can't.
were killing me
That's
this
wild.
morning, fool.
She got the poo butt. Blind. So don't know if you heard my question. If there's one thing that you could look at and say, damn, I wish I had more time for that, what would that be?
Like, seriously?
And it can't be DNP.
I would have pursued a career in acting. Like, entertaining people is something I barely found out that is something I would like to have done with my life, for sure.
I could see that. Yeah. How about you, Res?
If I could go back and do something,
Less jail time. We already know it, Resla.
I don't have a record. That's why they keep trying to take my card.
I get some golfies or something. What the whitest thing you could think of? Doing taxes.
That just means he got off all of them charges.
And that's a fact. Honestly, in my mind is rather boring. I just wish I had learned the value of money so much earlier. I really wish I had taken the time to really learn about money.
Well, what would you have done with more money?
More than I do now. For one, I would never, not that I worry about paycheck to paycheck, but I would never have to worry about that. That, and to me, it's not about being rich, wealthy, but it is about abundance.
Like what you do with it. Not necessarily the value, but like what you're supposed to do with it.
Well, for one, I would do what some rich people do. Buy my time.
Right.
I would have more time for family. I would have more time for friends. Because part of the thing about me working so much is that I didn't spend a lot of time with friends and family. When they're like, hey, you want to come out? Sorry, I gotta work. Like I felt like I was the guy who cheats all the time. It's like, hey, baby, sorry, I gotta work late. Does he really gotta work late? Because I was working all the time. But and why was I working all the time? Needed the money. But if I had learned so much more about money early in life, rather than be the young people, like we were all young and spending money, who knows what I would have turned out to be like now? Well, yes, I have the value of money now, but if I would have had it back then, my lifestyle would be a lot different now.
Do you think that a broke person buys their time too, in a way? Like, let's say
no, a broke person doesn't buy their time. A broke person spends someone else's money to have their time.
Yeah, those are the debtors. Yeah, facts. The people who stay in debt and never have anything to put towards actual tangible things.
You know what's the thing that I kind of envied for a long time when it comes to some people, especially if you want to talk about like the broke people or whatever. I met so many people that they complained about things. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, man, I got to go to work, man. I get tired. I want to come to work because I get tired of hanging out with my friends and smoking weed and hanging out with my family. That's why I come here. I'm like, you motherfucker, I spend most of my time working and shit. Like, I want more friends. I want to spend more time with family and shit. And you're taking it for granted. Because when shit falls hard on you, those are the people that you can fall back on. For people who don't really have friends and family or like a whole abundance of them, when they fall on hard times, there's no one really to lean on.
That's true.
So I wish I had more. I wish I had learned a lot how to manage capital better, so I can spend more time cultivating friendships, having a larger network.
Well, what do you
having more time with friends and family?
Maybe that's like the values and suffering is you get to learn who's your friend, who's the dude standing next to you while you're going through the shit.
How many friends does a normal person have? Like, with the whole panel thing aside, like, let's take the internet out of it.
On average, 0.
They say well, the average person, they say like it's like on a hand. You can
about 5.
About 5.
I say 2. Like 2. I've had 2 constant friends probably throughout my life.
Yeah, and the max people that you know is like 200 or something like that, or that you like actually have regular contact with in your life. It's like 200. So it's a very low amount.
Person, I say, because I probably dealt with the same 20 people for the last 10 years. Shit, like in real life.
Yeah, the numbers are very low considering how many actual people are in the world for the average person for some of those questions like that.
Hey, that's where the internet confuses us, I think, with these millions, all these zeros on the ends of numbers. Like, we think everything is so much bigger, but in our day-to-day life, shit is so much smaller.
No, it's
here's the look. I think that's part of our confusion of people just being online, because they're literally called either two things. They're called subscribers or they're called followers. They're not called friends.
That's true.
this isn't Facebook. I forgot.
Dynamic
not
comes
Facebook.
into play.
Facebook absolutely ruined it because they called them friends.
No, it's MySpace first,
Yeah.
right? Tom.
Actually, you're right. It was.
You're right.
Tom.
Yeah, it was.
Freaking
He was your
Tom,
first
man.
friend.
And you have to be Tom's friend, by the way.
You have no choice.
Yeah. He's like the government. Gotta be.
Hey, but you could feel it, like with the MySpace changing the world. Like, you could feel the difference back then between when you came online versus when you were in real life. Like, now the lines have been blurred so thoroughly, people really think this is real life.
Yeah, that's the
And I'm trying to break that mindset every time.
Yep.
that is sadly depressing.
Like, I want to treat this like a clinic. I want it to be like, I want you to be online and then say, well, I just finished going through with Resla. It made me think. And then when you go outside into the real world, whether it's your friends, your family, your coworkers, you start cultivating real, genuine relationships with them. I'm not saying fuck all of them. I'm not saying that. Y'all need to calm down.
That's what I heard.
Just
Well, until you meet somebody in real life, you really don't know.
Yeah, everybody, like, there is no situation mixed with the same genes, mixed with the same parents, mixed with the same friends that's exactly the same. So every single person is going to be unique in the world, no matter what. Like,
That is a fact.
Well,
Yes.
you know what's something else I'm trying to figure out how to get this done, because it's something I'm still learning myself. How do we learn to build friendships as adults? Because a lot of us, when we have people who we have work people that we get to know, maybe we'll hang out once in a while or whatever, but how do we build? So for instance, let's just say you have your best friends, you were kids coming up, but let's say your best friend moves somewhere far, where as close as you used to be, or they die or whatever. Most people don't turn around and say, I can come up with a new best friend, especially as an adult. Most people, the last place where they start developing, I would say, best friends and things like that are in college. In the real world, as we get older, we become less trusting of people. So it's hard for us to build those genuine friendships as we get old. How do we find the capability of building friendships as adults?
by being less jaded. Like, that's the start.
Well, I would say it's like with any relationship. First comes communication, right? Number one, you got to be talking to the person first and foremost. And because you're talking to that person, you develop interest. You explain what your interests are. And then because you have some similar interests, you can become friends. But are you going to develop that? Ultimately, that's really up to the amount of time you put into it. In my opinion, that right there, like, that is some difficult stuff, right? And I've developed some friendships that have basically become some very good friendships much later in life. And one of the guys who I've become friends with is well within his 60s, and we recently started communicating, and so because we started communicating first. We did develop that friendship, but we also put that time in, right? And that is difficult, especially when you started communicating online. I mean, that's just, you have to take chances, and that's with any relationship.
I think a big difference is, like, when you're young and you're in school, you don't have the opportunity to just cut somebody off. Like, the more jaded you are, when you get older, Like you can just stop talking to somebody and cut them out of your life completely.
Mhm.
When you're in school and you're around people constantly, like the same people, even though they piss you off, even though they've done something wrong to you, like you have to learn how to let that go, and that relationship continues.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You kind of hit the nail on the head, because when you're young, you actually kind of have to choose. You have to. Everybody's asking you, where are your friends? And if you don't have any, they're going to ask you, why don't you have any?
Yeah,
When
so
you're
you have to
young,
be forgiving,
develop some
'cause-
friendships. Go talk to the kids in the neighborhood.
Well, to me, that's also, and I'll just say this: I think that's also partly a failure on parents. Not the whole your parents are your first friend bullshit. That's not it. Your parents are supposed to put you in situations where you're able to learn how to make friends, to cultivate. Well, like the whole play date, the whole kids spend a sleepover, shit like that. They try to help kids, get into a social situation. Parents go to parties and bring kids along to people who have kids to try to. That doesn't happen now.
Yeah.
I mean, I
this is
gotta,
where
I gotta
Resla's
push
gonna
back. I gotta push back on that. My bad.
Resla's gonna tell us his little family story about how his mama sent him to school with a with a Barney lunchbox, right? Just so he would meet the school bullies.
Sir, I was in junior high school when Barney came out, and I was taking care of my small cousins.
Rez was like, I thought Rez was gonna say, I was the bully.
Oh no, I fought. I stopped getting into fights almost every day once I was in high school. I fought all type of bullies.
Well, Ortho, ask him if he's ever had another man's balls in his hand. Just ask him.
How about no?
Yeah, how
I'll
about a
ask
big
him.
no?
I gotta push back on that, man, because like I hate people, always have, but for some reason I have no trouble meeting new people and making friends, and I'm just like, ew, leave me alone, go away. And like I don't know, man. My parents, they were not the play date type people. I'd go play with my cousins. I'd go play with the neighborhood kids. If I was bored and I wanted to go, like I like hiking. I like being in the woods. I like shooting my BB gun or my grandfather's gun with him more than I liked. Like it's either that or video games. And then like when I became a teenager, I became more sociable. But I still didn't like people because people get on my nerves. They do stupid shit and always drag you into it.
Contrary, I can't disagree with that. Contrary.
And I think what made me stop being sociable as a child is getting drug into people's stuff. Like as a kid before school, because my grandma would always take me to church, and it was like we had a bunch of kids there. I think dealing with the girls and then the guys acting retarded, because even as little kids, like the whole "you girls are icky," that was never really a thing for me and the guys I grew up with either. So it's just, I don't know, man. I have no problem being sociable. I just don't like people. People get on my nerves, and I'd rather you go away. I've always talked to people just like I do on here.
So so what you're saying is you don't want friends.
They don't. Yeah.
I would rather have one or two
friends.
high quality
Quality friends.
that's got my back than 80,000 people that go, man, at my funeral going, oh man, he was such a good guy. Well, where were you when he was struggling? Type shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Basically, what it boils down to is friends are expensive, and I don't mean money wise. I mean time wise. Your friend, if you have a really close friend, right? You are obligated. If they have a problem, you are obligated to invest your time into their problems.
I don't agree with that. If it's a good
Oh
friend,
no, that is a fact. That is part of being a member of a tribe.
my pushback is this: that if it's a good friend, then they will not be expecting you to get involved in that ridiculous.
It's not about their expectation; it's about your obligation. Your
Yeah, because you're obligated, regardless if they expect you to or not. You're obligated.
Well,
It's like a family member.
No, that's a
You're
gang.
obligated. to help
No,
your
that's
family
a
members.
gang.
Your friend is like family.
tribe, not a
This is
or
a
a gang,
this is a fundamental misunderstanding of what a tribe or a family member or a friend is. All of these people are part of your tribe. They're the people that you rely on and who rely on you. You do have a duty to your fellow man, especially those you call friends and family.
Yeah, and the reality is that a good friend does expect you to be there. Like, that's just kind of something that people say. Like, if you're a good friend, you do kind of expect your good friend to be there.
Yeah, you as a good friend, you're not there just when times are good. You're there when times are bad.
You're there when
You're
you're
it's just like
if you ain't seen your homie cry, you're not friends.
Well, I believe it's kind of backwards is the real pushback. So what you're basically saying is that the friend is expecting you, but really what you should be saying is you're expecting to be a friend.
Both.
You choose to be a friend.
You're trying to split hairs for the sake of intellectual.
It's not splitting hairs. It's not, because you can't expect anything from anybody ever.
Well, that's what friendship is. That's what makes it big. That's what makes it important, is the ability to expect something. Because from a family member, you can't expect they will be there as a part of your life because you're blood. When a friend has earned that same expectation, that is friendship.
Nope. I cannot expect that my family's going to be there. That's a
then
fact.
you live a really sad existence.
Well,
that's sad.
Hold on. That's your perspective.
And when
I am very happy with who I am and what I am.
When I say
I actually
be there for you.
Kind of to answer. Actually, I'm glad you said it that way, because kind of to answer my question from earlier about what I wish I would have done with my time. Is I wish I would have spent more time with my family, because I actually did go away to a faraway land about 1,000 miles away. Maybe actually it was actually probably further than that. It was probably closer to
He said far away.
far away land, all the way
in a
to
galaxy.
New England. And I lived in Florida, and I was living up there for about 5 and 6, maybe 7 years. Right. And I left. And my family didn't see me for that many years. And because they didn't see me for that many years, we grew apart. And then when I moved back to Florida, they really didn't know who I was. They're like, who's this?
Then you kind of don't have a family. Like, because that's from what you're explaining, because that's what family is you don't have the choice of whether to be there or not.
But that's not
True.
That's blood is what you mentioned, right? So,
yeah.
When I say be there, I'm not saying to be there for you. I'm saying that when you're counting the members of your family, they get counted.
Crazy
like
Mom was funny.
when you're having a get together where somebody passes away, you're gonna see them there. Like, I mean,
yeah, I missed some of those, unfortunately. Right. I didn't miss them all, but I tell you what, I didn't miss. When I did visit, because I did visit occasionally, I did not miss hanging out with the older men, because I knew what my time was at that point. I knew that it was very valuable. And so I made sure that I gave them my time, and then I took some of that time with me. Right. And so now, because I actually have that with me, I feel it makes me a better person. But if I could have had more, that would have been awesome too. Unfortunately, I can't go back, but that is what I would take.
Well, can I ask you, Brick, do you have friends like in real life? I mean, and I'm not talking shit. I swear to God.
He said, do you have any? Do you is this all you got? He's like,
Yes,
do you go to
of course.
sleep just crying?
Yes.
You have a body pillow and you just cry yourself to sleep every night.
No,
First off, all right. First off, body pillows are comfortable. I'm tired of pretending they're not. All right, it's only weird if you've got a bunch of pictures and stuff of women on them. All right, body pillows are comfortable. I've had one made for me by my mom as a child.
All right, sir, we get it. You go to sleep with a little waifu pillow. We get
No,
it.
fuck no, that's weird. That is weird. My body pillow is gray and made out of silk.
Yeah, who's your favorite anime girl? Okay, cool.
I don't watch anime, so joke's on you. I don't even know what that is.
It's Bulma all day.
Oh shit.
Bulma.
Let me put it to you this way.
What the hell is a Bulma?
I
But
went to
Bone
the
was an
family,
anime girl.
I went to the family reunion for the first time when I moved back down in those 5 and 7 years, whatever it was. I moved back down, went to the family reunion. It's in Georgia, by the way. Played horseshoes, and I won both years, and it was glorious, right? But
But
then
it's that guy that shows up once a year to kick our ass. He can't be invited no
once
more.
in a decade, twice in a row, right? And they're looking at me like, is that, yeah, that is. What? Hey, I haven't seen you in so long, and they're crying and all that, and I can't help but to get them, what some people call emotional. I get my feelings about it. And you know what? That's okay. That's a good thing, right? Because it's a memory that you can't can't go back to.
But, yeah.
But yeah, the idea that that family is that end all be all, it's just not there, or at least not for me. I know that in the worst case scenario, I'm actually going to have to rely on myself, right? I'm not going to have anybody, right? In the worst case scenario. But at the same time, yes, I do have some friends who I'm not going to say I count on them, but because they're friends, I don't have to worry.
But what if I was to say that mentality, that I feel like that mentality is some of that? Dude, that's scary to me. The idea of going off somewhere where your family is unreachable to you and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's people aren't good friends and
terrifying.
Stuff,
Well, Blind. I think Pimpin pretty much put it this way: they are relatives, Blind. Doesn't necessarily mean they're family in the way that you're mentioning.
Within this context, we're saying family as in relatives, like, because there is the family as in who you consider your family or whatever. But for the sake of the conversation, I meant it to be one.
Your family is your blood. It doesn't mean they're always going to care about you. It doesn't mean they're going to be there for you. Your tribe are the people that care about you. They're the people you work with and you build with, and they don't have to be blood. And there is a difference.
And I will say this is a interesting point to make as well, that when I did move back down to Florida, there were some things that I needed, and because of them, I could, I felt I could count on them. It didn't end out that way in the end, but at the time it worked out. I could have considered my family at that time friends.
I mean, that's a liberty with the language, though. Like, family really means people that are your relatives. Like, that's just right. Because that's just what like the new age kind of understanding of it is.
So you make your own family, right? When a person gets married or whatever, that's when they become family. They actually literally become joined. They are man and wife, and then they have kids. Now it literally is blood that ties them.
And you see, that's what I mean. Like, when you're under a contract, you have an inability to get away from each other. You know what I mean? A marriage is going to keep y'all having to deal with each other. That's what stops friendships from being developed as an adult, is you don't feel like you have that same necessity or necessitation to have to be around each other.
Right. And that's why a really good friend, it says, I'm not even trying to quote it, but it literally comes to my mind. It's someone sticking closer than a brother, but that brother, that you have, that's from another mother, the brother from another mother, that friend, right? It's not necessarily because because they can count on you, but because you feel like you can count on them.
Exactly.
And so that makes you a friend.
But the thing is too, is that you can count on them.
Count on them. Yeah.
So like because the people I know that I can count on, it's because they've proven that to me time and time again. Like, even when I didn't want to have to count on them, and I've had to, like, been forced to, they've proven that they're going to be there.
In that sense, I don't disagree. In that sense, yep, absolutely.
People tend to look at things transactionally as what can I get out of it, and that's kind of the problem here. Is like you can't do that. You can't just sit there and ask yourself, what does being around these people do for me, and expect to have family and friends, because like the world doesn't revolve around you. And that's kind of the issue I see whenever I hear people talk about family or talk about friends, especially in the modern United States. Is it's either transactional or it's purely what can they do for me.
What have you done for me lately?
And it works both ways too, because if you're that person that's always there, always doing stuff for people,
Right.
You're not gonna want to be stuck in that in perpetuity either. I hope I use that word properly.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it needs to be a balance, or at least somewhat of a balance between how much one does for the other in a family situation.
Well, that's up to you, because like that's up to you as a person, right? Because
yeah,
like a lot of people will either take or give
yeah.
without any inward reflection, and then they'll get mad about it, or people will get mad at them about it. And it's like, either way, if you're allowing this to be done on either side, that's your fault. That's your failure at working with people.
Yeah,
Or
putting a boundary.
How many balanced people are there within any given situation, y'all think? Because I think it's a very low percentage. People
What do you mean
really
balanced?
like how he said the give, take. Like how many people actually stop and consider who's giving and taking? Like say within one family dynamic, say we're a family up here on the panel. There'd probably be one person, right, that's actually stopping the imbalanced giving and taking.
Well, if we were a family, since it's purely, I only talk to most of y'all on Resla's panel. Resla would be the one that gives, and we would be the ones that take.
That's true.
But the thing about it is too, Resla finds enjoyment out of this and has reasons that he keeps doing it. So it's not just black and white. There's a whole nuance to human communication, and typically the only time people feel that it comes down to they give is when one of their many needs is not being satisfied in the group dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And that causes a bunch of issues, because people are naturally greedy. People are gonna feel like if they don't get their needs met, then it's not equal, when in actuality it kind of more or less is equal. Because in any one given situation, right, if I have more money than my friends and we haven't done anything together, I'll call up the homies, or I'll call up a female friend, like, hey, get your shit on, let's go out to Chinese food, let's go play airsoft, let's go punch each other in the face, let's go smoke some pot, let's go do something.
Yeah.
And if it's a chick, same thing, except for like, yeah, you can show me them titties or something, I don't know. But I view as everybody pretty much has. It's weird. As a gamer, I look at it as The Sims, right? You have needs that you need met. They're very nuanced. They can be boiled down to a group of things, and it's up to you to control your character, to control your mind, to get those needs met. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. There's a pretty girl you want to talk to that you want romance with. If you never speak to her, you never let your intentions known, you try to be the nice guy, you can't be mad when she goes and gets laid with somebody else. You have to tell her what you want and be honest.
Yes, communication. You have
and
to.
Most people can't. Most people in the United States cannot communicate, because we're individualists and we only care about what we physically, not what we physically, but what we materialistically need.
Absolutely true.
So true.
That is very true. We've been
This
trying
past
to
year,
be too individualistic.
This past year, I got a crash course, man. I lost my dad, the love of my life. I know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to miscommunicate. I have gone through it. So when it comes to the human communication part, I'm your guy. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of, or on the receiving and giving end of any type of communication out there.
So, I guess the question there for you as well, then, Ortho, what's the one thing that if you could say, I wish I had done that more, or what's the one thing that you wish you could have more time to have done? Or do?
I don't want to answer that question because it's deeply personal. It
It
involves
can't be
love of my life.
DNP.
No,
It can't
no,
be DNP.
it is. It involves personal conflict with me and the love
That's
of my
fair.
life.
That's fair.
And I'd rather not get into it with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can give you a
so-
second. I would have called my dad more.
Oh,
That's it.
fair.
Because
Yep.
you don't. I tell my best I have two best friends, one male and one female. And I tell them they both have problems with
You
their
got a female best friend? Blasphemous. Blasphemous.
dude, I'm gonna tell you straight up. If me or her, either one of us wanted it, it was there on the table. I just lost the love of my life, and she became my friend after I lost the love of my life. And I'm like, I don't want that. I'm not emotionally okay with that. I can't just do that. That's not me. And she was there for me, and she became one of my closest friends. And her being a woman, stereotypically and typically, women take more out of the relationship, even with other women. And that's just a fact. That's just one of those things that is statistically a fact that you have to understand. If you're a man, your natural order is to be a provider, even if it's to your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta be prepared. Even your male friends, you as a man have to be prepared to be a provider for your tribe. And if you have a real man that's a real best friend of yours or a good friend of yours, they will recognize that as well.
As a man.
That's what a man
Do
does.
you know how often I've been sitting there wondering how I'm gonna pay my bills, struggling, and my homie's like, I got you, and he just threw $400 in my lap, and I've done the same for them. Like there is no. Here's the thing, and I look back at Christianity and Judaism and Islam, right? There is no debts among friends and family.
Yep,
You help when you can.
I agree.
So I have another question in regards to this topic. Because Resla actually made an analogy. The analogy was that time is like sand, but then he changed it and he said, no, it's actually more like water. And so now that's actually an interesting thing that you actually said water after you had said sand. I feel like that there's a balance that's happening there. At one moment you feel like it's sand because sand is solid and you can actually hold that pretty well in your hand. It might slip through. But water, it's practically impossible. Your hands might still be wet. Eventually it will dry out. So for the panel, do you feel like your time is more like the sand, or do you feel like it's more like the water?
I feel like the analogy is actually not really applicable because time is nothing but a measurement of opportunity, in at least the way we perceive it. And if you don't take, it doesn't matter how much time in the world you have, if you don't actually if you don't actually seize upon that opportunity, time is irrelevant.
Well, I guess
And if
it's more for like right now in the moment.
But
Do you feel like
in
it's
the
more
moment,
like sand?
I like the fact that you mentioned opportunity because one of the things that I mentioned about, especially when you're working for people, is the fact that the time that you're spending is all about based on what you have to do or what you haven't done. It's not about presence.
Mhm.
When you have your time, it's always about presence. That's one of the things that I've lost. That's one of the things I'm noticing that I'm losing, and I'm trying my best to hold on to it, even here on the internet. Being present, being there in real time. I like doing this because I don't see this as a job. I don't have to do it. I'm present when I'm here with you guys. I'm not sitting here just blocked out thinking about something else, whatever. Like I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm at my job, it's totally something different.
Yeah,
you're
time
totally zoned
and
out,
and the way we interact with it changes based on what we're doing. Because if you're working a job, time is all that matters. Like you're present in time and you just want to be able to do what you want back. People always say there's never enough time. Yeah, there is. You just don't seize the opportunity to do it and you don't manage your time properly. Time is nothing but a measurement.
So in that case, I would say for you that time feels more like the sand, right? See, it's it's more solid, right? Whereas water, it's liquid, and that's going to be something that you can't really hold on to. How about anybody else? I mean, I'm hoping you understand the analogy there.
Well, I think the analogy is a false analogy.
For
I think
me, when I think of the fact of, even when you say the time is what you do with it, right? When I was working more of this remote thing, I could still get things done and still manage the expectations that were held on me from my employer. Now in my new role, I can manage my expectations, but also when it's free time, I can't just walk away. I can't, when I'm done, I can't just say I'm done because I'm still committed to a clock.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Depending on what we're doing in a particular, because you have time, which is the scientific measurement, and then you have metaphorical time, as we're discussing now, and they are different because time, the scientific measurement, is finite. You
Well,
only got everybody has the same 24 hours in the day.
There's this like paradox in physics. I don't remember exactly what it is, where like if you're looking up at this certain place in the sky, it looks one way, but if somebody is moving and they take that measurement looking up at the sky while in movement, and you see something completely different.
Forget what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Time differential.
I don't remember exactly what it is, but whether you're moving or not can change your perception of time. And I believe that I'm always in the present. I don't ever look at, I mean, I'll look at it for how to gauge something in the present, like looking to the past and the future. But I try not to ever like think too much at all about either one.
Well, everybody is always in the present because our physical being is always in the present.
Well,
our minds literally are a database of all of our lived experiences.
Yeah, but some people can't remove themselves from the past. Some people can't get beyond things that have happened. They just replay that shit for the rest of their life, or else they're constantly planning something that they never actually do. Like, I think that's a big problem. A big reason why people don't accomplish things.
Well, I mean, living in the time, living in the past is not necessarily that they are stuck in the past, that they have a trauma that is keeping them from moving forward, something that their brain cannot process. So they're not actually stuck. They're not like stuck in the past thinking wise, because they still have to process the world around them. They still have to plan for the future like all other humans. They have a trauma that they themselves have not been able to figure out, because we as humans, we are problem solvers. That's why IQ is such a huge problem.
Let's say you're in a relationship where you mess things up and you wish that you hadn't. If you allow yourself to be stuck in that, you could call that a trauma that's keeping you there, but it's also something that you did that you put upon yourself.
Yeah, and what you're doing when you're stuck in the past, so to speak, is your brain is trying to logically figure out what went wrong, so if you have a chance in the future, you can fix it, and that's what your brain is supposed to do. That's one of
and I feel like that's a disservice to yourself. I feel like it's
not. No, it's literally learning. It's literally learning.
It's literally trying to rationalize how you can get better and overcome the next situation.
Yeah, but
it's no different than failing a math problem and trying to rationalize how to do it properly.
What you're talking about. Even to the point where you were talking about earlier, Blind, and I remember it's called the Andromeda paradox.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yes, you can see different things, giving your different perspective, like you said, moving versus someone who's still, but also someone who's seeing things that are distant. This is how, and Brick, you would know this as well. This is the whole consciousness level of thinking, whether you're going to be in the situation versus whether you are outside as an individual looking at the situation, whether you're yourself looking at the individual who's observing the situation, looking at the situation that was already taking place. Like, it depends on which level of consciousness you're thinking about on it.
Yeah, it's the 3 U's, right? So there's the you that you see when you look down, you see your body. That's you that's inside of your head looking at you, right? Then there's the you that everybody else sees, right? Then there's the you that's in real life that none of you really know. It's just,
that's what Carl Jung calls the shadow self.
Yeah, right. The shadow self. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so in that time paradox, I guess you could call it, because you are only available to the real you at the time of consciousness, right? While you're awake. I mean, some people claim they dream, and that's fine, but that's supposed to be subconscious, right? And then there's the time that other people see you, right? And that time is very, very limited. But then there's the time that you are in existence, and that time won't ever go away, right? It will have always been.
So is there ever two questions? What do you mean that claim they dream? And number two, is there ever a time where a person's perception of themselves is exactly the same as what a person is? Because I don't believe that that's possible.
I believe that you could perceive pretty close, but never the exact.
Because of bias, right? Because of having lived in your own life.
Because we're limited to our senses.
And what did you mean by claim that they dream? Do you believe that there's some that people don't dream?
That's the realm of thought. So many people who have seen me around know that I don't believe that thoughts are real. And I know that images and sounds seem to be real, or even a smell, right? Or the way things feel. You can feel the course supposedly in your head. But the fact of the matter is you're not feeling anything. You're not really seeing anything. You're not really hearing anything.
Then what is life?
What is life? A gift.
No, but in that context.
I don't know. I have to push back on this whole how people perceive you and everything, because you have an objective reality, right? Let's say Brick is correct,
I have
and
one.
you can't ever truly define yourself, right? You think you're a badass, but you get your ass beat every day, right? That's just living in delusion. That's being mentally ill. Only you can know your true self, because only you know the true extent of your shame. Everything else about you is subjective and due to the interpretation of another person's mind.
So can everybody know their true self?
Nobody knows their true self.
Yeah, no, not everybody can, because not everybody is for one, not everybody has an inner monologue. Not everybody is functional. A normal person with a normal mind that is not broken or has birth defects, which is the majority of the population, believe it or not, are capable of these things. You're always going to have broken people and the outliers prove the rule.
So I feel like that the part where you become so inwardly focused that you begin to have thoughts, that's the breaking point. That's the part where you're actually broken, and then you go down the rabbit hole.
No. You have those thoughts to think inward so you can improve yourself and learn and internalize lessons.
You adjust according to what you believe this is true. However,
you adjust according to objective reality and cause and effect. If somebody says I'm bulletproof and they honestly believe they're bulletproof, and I pull out my Luger and shoot them in the stomach, they're going to adjust that they are not bulletproof.
No, that's not necessarily true for every person.
Grab a cigarette.
But hold on, because what if you declare yourself bulletproof and nobody pulls out their Ruger and tests that, and you never get that tested for the rest of your life?
Right. So some things aren't even testable. Right. So because like you look at we'll go back to 3,000 years ago. Rugers didn't exist. Nobody can shoot me with a machine gun because guess what? Machine guns didn't exist. In fact, I didn't exist. So I literally can't test what would have happened 3,000 years ago. There are things that we could never possibly know. There are things that you have experienced that you can never know. This is a fact. You were a baby once and you lost those memories. right? So that true self that some people would say, I know my true self. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that for the moment, and you can get a pretty close perception of it. But I would say you can't get to the exactness of it.
That's what all pretty much all established psychology would agree with, that you can't, there is no like he said that only a person's self can know themselves. That's actually the opposite of the reality, because of your bias. You can't properly judge where you're at. Everybody's gonna think, everybody either has a more grandiose perception of themselves or a more humble perception of themselves, depending on what their life experience is.
Right. Yep. And I actually 100% agree with that. I've actually understood that for not so long. I really truly believed at one time that I could know everything that, I could possibly know about myself. But then I came to that realization, oh crap, there's just simply going to be some things that I'm not going to know. And it quite frankly is limited due to the very subject matter of this conversation, which is time. You have only the moment you are in. That's all you are in possession of at the moment.
Well, keep in mind, a lot of people don't really get the chance to really know themselves. Is because a lot of people, I would say the majority of people, spend a lot of time trying to learn how to be someone else.
Well,
it's all about perception. Because here's the thing: you have two modes of perceiving things, passively and directly. And the difference is, if I may, I might get a little vulgar here because it's going to be funny to explain it this way. America, I'm going to use two examples. America and the world have two problems, right? Porn and violence. You can perceive that sex is awesome if you watch it on porn. You can think it feels great because how they're acting, but until you're actually the one doing it, you don't know how it feels. You don't know the emotions behind it. You don't know everything about it. Same thing with violence. You can perceive your homie getting the shit beat out of him or beating the shit out of somebody else. Right. But until you are actively perceiving an ass whooping, whether you're receiving or giving, you don't know. And it's a matter of perception. And that's the issue.
Once that skin breaks, I'm
going somewhere crazy with that. I don't know where you're going.
Well, no, it's a matter of perception. And that's the thing. People perceive themselves. When you get people that think they're a badass, they perceive themselves passively because they've never been in physical contact. They've been able to talk people down. So they perceive themselves passively. Then you have people that have actually had to beat motherfuckers' asses and carry ass whippings, and they know. So they typically are like, hey, look, man, I don't want any trouble.
Typically.
Because they know that somebody's going to get hurt.
There are outliers in that, because you say typically, I've seen people that are loud and can back it up, and they're just loud people,
But outliers prove the rule. They're an exception to it. Resla, you're muted.
No, they're absolutely not the rule. That's why they're outliers.
Yeah.
There are also people who are extremely quiet and whoop a lot of ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is all. I feel like we're making perception more esoteric than it needs to be. It's either passive or direct perception. It's the whole getting back to the talking about time, right? Time, the way I understand it, is the only way that time actually changes in its movement is when gravity is affected on it. If we were on two planets a bazillion light years apart, right? We're still able to communicate like this. We would experience time the same in two different places. But if your planet has a bazillion more forces of gravity, I'm going to say newtons just to say sound smart. Newtons of gravity acting upon you, you would experience time slower because gravity stretches time.
But that's because time is space also. Time isn't just the measurement of a moment passed. It's also the space.
Well, let me land the plane. The only other way time is affected is if you are in motion. Because if you go the speed of light, you are going to experience time as you experience it right now, right? But you go 1,000 light years in any direction and come back, the Earth has aged 2,000 years, but you have not, and that's because you are going the speed of time. It's relative to your position and relative to gravity.
An even easier way to explain it is the passage of time is measured by the sun moving around the earth. Well, it's not just the measurement of the moment gone by, it's a measurement of the space that the sun moves.
My point was that it's about how you perceive it, actively or directly.
Schrodinger's cat.
Well, not necessarily.
Yes,
Because-
absolutely. That's exactly what perception is. That's how the paradox of Schrodinger's cat.
Indirect perception, maybe, but direct perception, absolutely not. That is a fixed. That is direct.
Well, the reason that Schrodinger's cat even came about was because of the theory of relativity. Because the fact is that the constant isn't a true constant. Right. So the speed of light, if you're going with that as the constant, it is not a true constant.
It is though. It's one of the only constants in the universe.
It's
It's
only
not.
as constant as your perception is. So however long you could focus on something until you die.
The only way to go faster than the speed of light is via teleportation.
Was it the split mirror test? It's like the split mirror test. They actually tested it, and light is not a definite constant. It is because the thing is so Einstein's theory of relativity, what he did was he actually filled it in to the most accurate understanding at the time. However, when they do that, I forget exactly. I believe it's something like the split mirror test. They found out that it's not accurate, that it does change.
Yeah, brick. But you gotta understand. Again, gravity stretches time. The speed of light significantly slows down. In a vacuum, in space, it is an absolute constant in the universe.
Okay, can you explain why it would do that? Because if you can explain why it would do that, no, you can't use circular reasoning on this. You cannot.
No, it's not even circular reasoning.
Hold on. Stop trying to adjust parameters. Hold on. Because
I answered your question in the very first sentence. I said, in a vacuum. In a lack of a medium, in a lack of disturbance, it is a constant.
No,
that's a scientific fact, Rick. You can argue it.
Listen, you're not even listening to the question.
You're
not even listening to the question. Okay, when you say gravity, right,
excuse me,
and you say gravity affects time because of gravity, that is circular reasoning. So when you are saying the vacuum of space, you are literally attributing mass. Vacuum means no mass. That's circular reasoning, my friend.
Rick, that's a fact. That's not circular reasoning. I'm telling you the reason that it happened. The reason
no
it happened.
Mass. No, you cannot apply no mass, which is the vacuum. No, this is not esoteric. You want to call it some random word, so that you don't have to answer for it. You claim that no mass accounts for the gravity, where no mass literally describes no gravity.
I gotta agree with Brick.
That is absolutely not what I said.
Circular reasoning on its face. No gravity means no mass.
Are you a
no mass means no gravity.
Are you a conspiracy theorist? Watch.
No, I'm a
no.
real.
Do you not believe in objective science? I posted it in the back chat, by the way.
I want to
objective science. Let's go.
I want to propose to you something outside of the box that you've maybe never considered before. That's why I'm saying you can't do circular reasoning. The thing is that if it's vacuum means pressure. Okay. That is what vacuums are, not gravity. Is that accurate?
Hey, and let's be real. Theoretical physics is not physics, yo. Real talk.
So the way space and time works is it pushes everything together. That's the way a vacuum works. Okay. When you put mass into the picture, what happens is it goes out. Okay. So in a vacuum
is
pushing out. Pressure. So that mass is pushing outward against the vacuum. When you're actually sucking up like a ball into your vacuum cleaner, what happens? It stops up. Why? Because of pressure.
Last year.
But because you've been taught that it's because of gravity, and now you're on this circular reasoning because the mass is on the mass, and then when you have no mass, now it's no mass, and then it's gravity. Gravity is the cause of the time and the
gravity,
space.
when
makes
gravity,
no sense.
when time and gravity intermingle, it stretches and slows.
Where does this measurement come from of time and gravity intermingling?
Exactly where I was going to go. Thank you, Blind. Yes.
And for everybody that's calling Brick a flat earther, questioning, no, Brick's actually explaining the whole existence of the spherical Earth because it's a centripetal force that creates the mass of the Earth. So,
Yes.
but I want to know where this time and where is this measurement made?
Yeah, I actually do believe in a round Earth. Yes, a spherical Earth. It's actually called a tetra hexagonal shape. That's a 8-sided, 12-sided shape. It's actually a circle.
Spheroid.
Yeah. I forget. Yeah.
Rhombus.
Yeah, an oblate, a pear shape, an oblate spheroid.
Yeah. There it is.
I think something arguing with fools makes you a fool as well. Something.
That's what they say, but arguing with geniuses might make you smarter.
This is true. Yeah. Yeah. Like a flat Earth doesn't even make sense to me because ultimately, why would my dad tell me that he sailed all the way around the Earth many times? You know, he did. He literally said it. Like he was in the Navy, 22 years active duty, 30 years civil service. He's been all over the world. I would trust his word over any person telling me that the Earth is flat.
And what is?
Thank your dad for his service.
I have actually.
What is gravity? What is this measurement of gravity the Orthodox is using? I want to know if it's not centripetally devised.
Would it have to be based upon the mass?
Well, I was saying thank you for your dad's service. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, and I will make sure to the next time I talk to him, I'll say that for you. I appreciate it, man. I know he does. He appreciates it. So. Yeah. But again, so you have to understand that gravity on its face, when people are saying that it's related to the vacuum means no mass. So it is circular reasoning. That is true. It's either it's no mass or it's mass. And if you put that into a vacuum, if you put mass into a vacuum, what happens? The vacuum pops up. It actually pops up. And so our system is actually pressurized. And that's why when you're dealing with high pressure systems, you get high winds, you get changing chemicals, changing elements, the way that the elements form. It's all formed in a vacuum because it's pressure. And I hope that's not going over people's heads.
Yeah, that went way above my head, Quick Jonesy.
It is.
I just got here. I'd have to catch up a little bit, but
I'm going to catch up as well.
Time.
We're having a physics discussion with people who don't.
Well, I'm right in the right spot. I love this shit. I'm kind of a fucking part-time.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in fucking string theory.
And I'm pretty much just listening because I'm editing while they have the physics discussion.
I was just stopped editing. You know how many different string theories there are? You don't believe in any of them? Is what I'm saying. It's a bunch of them.
Yes.
Actually, a couple of them I like. They got a couple of them where they have gravity sharing 9 and 10 dimensions, and when you do the math, that would account for the way it seems like such a weak force here. If it's sharing other dimensions, 9 and 10 other dimensions, some of those are really cool. I've read about. But they got all sorts of string theories, M theory, membrane theory, where if the membrane get too close to each other, they touch again, causing another Big Bang. What they're trying to do is rationalize conventional physics with physics that we know of, with quantum physics, where the rules seem to differ. They don't want to believe there are two different sets of rules. There must be a way to make them jive, and that's what string theory and M theory and unified field theory, that's where all of that comes into play.
Okay, guys, I have to go. I'll talk to y'all soon, man. I appreciate the conversation.
All right, be easy, man.
Hey, Juan.
Gravity. I heard you cats talking about gravity. What was you cats saying about gravity?
Apparently, there an argument started coming through about being able to express the theory of gravity in a vacuum and being able. It really started with light, which I don't even know how we got that far into that. The whole thing we were discussing with time.
Lights of time. I like it. Gravity. I like where y'all.
My argument was about perception.
Very good. And that's the best argument. If you're going to go to time, gravity, I see where the conversation was going. I kind of got out there already, and you can't.
I don't even know why it was going there.
Then we had to deal with contrarianism. It's all good.
I don't even know what that is.
Before you talk about that, because I was going to ask him, but I didn't want to. I wanted to say something about the time shit. Because if Einstein is right, and I believe he is. I think we all believe he is, at least in the sense that time is relative. People don't grasp. That's damn near. I shouldn't even say damn near. That's saying time is not a real thing. Where you depends on your perception of time, but it's not a real thing and it's not a standard. So you'd have to go into, if you're going to really talk about time here, I'll show you how confusing it gets. If I'm standing looking in a mirror, what time is it? Am I seeing myself at the same time? No. I'm seeing myself in the past because it took time for my eyes to see the reflection and bounce off. Right? It's the same thing if you look up at the sun, it could have exploded. It takes 8 minutes for those light waves to get to your eyes. That motherfucker would be gone right now. You wouldn't even know it. Time. If I'm standing still and see a thing fly past, oh wow, it's flying. If I'm sitting in a car, feel like I'm standing still. Looks like the outdoors are moving. Time turns out. And before then, if you take it to gravity, that changes everything. You take two twins born at the exact same time. You put one on the ground. He's born here, lives his life here. And you put the other one in a plane at 99.9% speed of light. He comes back in 5 years. His twins are 120 some years old. If you take them, speed them up even faster, the distance gets more dramatic. You throw gravity into there, oh my God.
Gravity slows down time and it acts upon time. I posted in the back chat Wikipedia. I don't typically use it, but for this specific case, I'll use it because there are several measurements for time depending on where you are at or how you are measuring it. And with those measurements, there is an explanation on why you would use it for that particular measurement at any particular given time.
Yeah.
And how you would go to use it. But typically, when you are measuring time, it is an astronomical measurement, and gravity stretches and slows time. It acts upon.
Here's the problem, and here's the pushback. When you are saying it is gravity that is the causation of time dilation,
right?
That's your theory. Okay,
it's proven. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's a proven
explain
fact.
to me now. At this point,
and that time dilation is direct perception.
So you keep saying the same thing over and over again.
But let's
don't allow me to
right quick.
You don't allow me to ask the question. Explain to me physically what is happening. What is gravity? What is it? Physically, if it's causing a change, that's a causation, a physical causation. You now have to demonstrate exactly physically what a graviton is.
Not really, right? Because
no, you don't.
I want you to pick up your mic and I want you to drop it on the ground. That's gravity.
What's that got to do with anything? No.
He said he wanted the graviton, the elusive graviton, theoretical graviton particle, but that's not true that you need that.
It's an obfuscation.
I was going where you're going.
Show me.
Yeah, I'm going where dude is going. You don't have to know the seated graviton to get the initial understanding by observation.
So
you
then,
can do
what is
a billion
the causation?
other observations?
So what is the causation if it's not a graviton?
I mean, if I don't know what it is, I still know it's real because I see things fall and stuff.
I do. It's called mass. It's a thing. It's an actual thing that's out there in the universe that is moving the light. It's moving the photon. It's actually physically stopping the photon from traveling forward. That is a thing. It's not a graviton. It is mass of some sort. That is what causes the photon to stop moving. It is not a theoretical thing that you can't see.
How does that explain the graviton exactly? Because it can't go through a physical
It's not
particle.
a graviton, is my point. It's not. This is what I've been trying to say the whole time, is that people want to believe that gravity is a thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. Gravity. Show me a graviton. Gravity.
Why would you use that logic, right? You haven't seen a Higgs boson, but we knew that it existed because
it's
of
a
what
particle
it does.
of a particle.
Excuse me. We knew what it was before we discovered it, because by looking at what it did, then we discovered the Higgs boson. So your theory that until we discover the graviton, gravity can't be real, that doesn't hold.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not what I'm saying.
I still owe you a blunt. Now I owe you two, Joe.
No.
Let me smoke. You're gonna make me smoke. Let me smoke.
No, I'm gonna get the iron lung.
So stay in your echo chamber. Stay in your echo chamber.
No, don't be mad.
Me and Joe.
Stay in your echo chamber.
Me and Joe Cool have argued before. We are not.
No, you want to believe what you want to believe. I get it. You don't want to go outside of the box. You want to stay in your little gravity chamber.
When you become a world-renowned physicist, I will.
I'll tell you what. When you want to consider what's outside of the box,
Brett, we are literally doing that right now. So I have no idea why you would attack him.
No, you're not.
We are hashing back and forth the reasoning. We give one side. This is how people learn shit. If we don't accept one or the other side immediately, that doesn't make us bad people or bad faith.
I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying that you're wanting to stay in your echo chamber. And so every time that I try to explain it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
But your explanations don't hold, is what I'm telling you. Your idea that until they may not, and you're allowed to push back, and I won't call you dumb and say you're trying to stay in your echo chamber and nothing like that.
Right. See, Joe,
you can't, because even physicists argue these things, and they're physicists.
Right.
But
so
how much better are you thinking you are about someone in the echo chamber, and physicists have to argue these things
because you said that you don't want to stay in the echo chamber, right? That you actually enjoy the pushback, right?
I do. I look forward to it,
so for you and me, we could maybe have this conversation, but Orthodox guy doesn't want to. He wants to stay in his echo chamber.
How do you know?
He said it.
Well, Brick, if you don't believe gravity is real, let me try another approach. Magnetism. Let's assume that I have never seen a magnetic particle, but I can look at two magnets and see them push or pull, and I can determine how strong the magnetic attraction is by just simply pulling one away, measuring how strong the pull is until it disappears. Now I know the magnetic attraction is there. I pull this thing away. It only exists so far. I can learn certain things. Gravity, I can do the same thing. I can go so far above the earth that gravity becomes less and less. It makes it look real the same way we know magnetism is real.
Okay. So what is magnetism? What is that? What is that thing?
Brother in Christ, you have Google use it.
No. Since Joe, Orthodox guy, we already know that you want to stay in an echo chamber. It's cool. You stay down there in your little box, okay? Me and Joe are going to have a real grown-up conversation.
Brother, you can be an intellectual.
No, me and Joe are going to sit here and talk like adults. You want to talk over me? I get it. You want to do the kid thing. We're over here at the grown-up table. We're over here at the grown-up table. We're having a conversation. You're over there banging on my chair. No, Brick, you're wrong. No, Brick, you're wrong. Me and Joe are actually having a conversation here.
Jesus
Joe,
Christ.
what was it that you said?
This is why people
I was
Orthodox. This is the problem. You want to bang on my chair. We're sitting here at the grown-up table. Like, what is it?
If you're at the table, it's not the grown-up table, I promise.
What are you doing here? For real, bro.
You were talking about magnetism. Where were you going?
Okay. So you mentioned magnetism. Now there's actually another thing that it actually is. Right? It's actually a thing. It's electricity.
About to say, I think you're talking about electromagnetism.
It's electricity, right?
Yeah.
And what is electricity? It's light, right? So it's photons, it's radio waves, it's the particles, right?
I don't know that every photon would be called electricity, but I get where you're going.
Right. So not every electric particle is photons, right? So there's the radio waves that emit out that are just, there's different types of radio waves, right?
Yeah.
But they're not all just absolutely just photons, right? And so there's different parts to light.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So we know that there's electricity, right? The electric particles, that those are actual particles. They're physical things that we can measure, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now with gravity, the thing is, the things that you're measuring is actually mass. Correct?
Yes. If by mass you mean the density of an object too, not just the size, but the density too. Yeah.
Right. So there's the two things that we can measure, right? Electricity and mass.
Right.
Or electric particles, right? Because we have radio waves and things like that.
Gamma rays,
So those are
blah,
actual,
blah.
right. Those are actual particles that we can measure. And and the same goes with the mass. There are the different particles all the way down to the Higgs boson, or Higgs boson?
Yes, yeah.
And maybe you are right. Maybe we can get down to what might be called one day the graviton, the thing that actually pulls things in. Until then, I find it very difficult to believe, because we've broken and broken and broken. And every time we cut something, right, we get down further and further.
Right.
And so because of that, I'm saying it's mass. Just like I would say the same thing for the electric particles, right? It's electric particles. So there's the mass part.
Even if you say it's mass, that definition falls short, because I think we need still need the graviton. I think we still need what it is that makes the mass that pulls. Like all of these particles you named, there was a time when we knew they existed, but we'd never seen them, never found them, never measured them. A lot of these particles, until we built the particle accelerator and we could produce all these collisions, we knew the results of them, and we knew they existed, but it took a bit of technology to learn them. It's not logical that we would have learned every particle. We're not that smart. Another 100 years, we might have another 8 different particles. And the best one we have evidence for, even if we can't find, at least us regular people that ain't scientists, the most obvious one is we can see the laws of this thing that appears to pull toward the earth. I can't lie. I read a lot of scientific papers. There are some good ones that says it is not the earth pulling, it is space pushing. I've read a few, man, that a few fucking scientists had to be like, they might be onto something.
Well, that's kind of where I lay in the realm of the philosophy. I don't disagree with you that it could be possible, right? And it's an interesting thing that you say, that you believe, or you think that it is the fact that you still got to have that something that's pulling it in. I actually say it's the pushing it out. So with a vacuum, and I was kind of explaining this earlier, is that in a vacuum, what happens is like you say you're vacuuming the floor, and a ball, you suck up a ball, right? It pops into the tube, right? And what happens? It actually stops everything, right? The ball stops, right? And so if it actually goes in, let's say it's small enough to go in, but it gets stuck in there. What it's going to do eventually is it's going to push out. It's going to push out, right? It will push out in a vacuum. That's the way a vacuum works, right?
I don't understand what you're saying push out means. The little particle, I'm picturing something, let's say a fluff of hair stuff in the tube of the vacuum.
Okay.
Will that do? What do you mean it pushes out? You mean it goes all the way into the vacuum at some point, or it spits back out? What are you saying?
Right. So when it goes into there, right, it actually hits the barrier, the wall of the tube, and it pushes against the tube.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So that push, right, is what mass does in a vacuum.
Okay. I'm wondering can you tell me what a vacuum is?
A vacuum is nothingness.
Yes. So a vacuum has no pulling force. Us using this as a vacuum analogy is wrong to start with. A vacuum just means emptiness. If I don't want people to be thinking that actual pulling and pushing has anything to do with the word vacuum. I wish they didn't even name it that, because that has nothing to do with vacuum.
Thank you. Yes,
All
it's
right.
pressure. Is pressure a better word?
No,
Yeah,
it's not. It's not pressure. A vacuum is a space
not pressure.
devoid of any matter.
It's not.
That's correct.
So in a vacuum with mass, it becomes pressurized, correct?
at least to some degree, I think the man would have an argument. It might not be the atmosphere like we know, but I think all of these things, Jupiter, they'd call that pressure and or whatever. When you get close enough to the Earth, I think they all would have pressure just because of the gravity.
Well,
Right.
how we create a vacuum pump?
Yeah.
The reason that we're able to create a vacuum in a jar is because we are sucking all of the matter out of that jar.
Right, but then the vacuum now exists, and then when you put not when you suck it out, but when you put something in, what happens? Watch.
It's because that matter is rushing in to fill the void.
Right. So I want you to watch. Okay, between my fingers exists a vacuum. Okay, now watch my finger. Okay, what happens? It pushes out. The vacuum actually pushes out.
All planets have pressure. I just Googled it.
Yeah,
Right.
Every planet has pressure.
In fact, that's exactly how precious metals and gems are made, are in pressurized systems. Now, the pressurized systems that we actually experience here on the Earth for creating those are not a complete vacuum, but it is pressurized, and that's it's literally pushing against each other. And then it expands outward, kind of like if you threw a ball into a rock into a pond, it disperses out the water. That's the way a vacuum works. It disperses. It opens up. Otherwise, what would be the Big Bang? I mean, you believe in the Big Bang theory.
No,
but
no, a vacuum does not disperse. A vacuum is absence of matter. It does not disperse the matter.
Right. So with matter in the vacuum, if you put matter into the vacuum, what happens?
It depends, right? Nothing. If I took, let's say, the vacuum of outer space, and I put the Earth out there, what would happen? Nothing. But I'm not sure what you think would happen. It wouldn't bounce around or anything because I introduced it into an empty environment.
Okay, here's one way to put it. Okay, so one rock goes into the pond. You put another rock.
No. The pond has substance, and so things will push against each other. That's a bad analogy.
Well, when I say the pond, I mean the vacuum. Okay, the vacuum. Okay.
Okay.
The rock goes into the vacuum. Fine. The vacuum, the pressurized system, because it's a pressurized system. It goes in, and then you put another one in, and then another one in, and another one, and it expands further and further out. Does that make sense?
Except the last part, it expands further and further out. I'm not sure.
Right. So the matter goes out further and further, and so
now I'm picturing a line of planets. Will that do? I'm picturing a line of planets.
I think we've gotten to the point where Brick doesn't know what he's talking about. He's grasping at straws.
No, I know what I'm talking about. It's easy to say words. I get it. You're bumping my chair.
My brother in Christ, I just had to explain
Brick doesn't know what he's talking about.
Brick
don't know what he's talking about. And bro, if you have a salient argument, I'd love to hear it. I hate that shit. I really do. It's
you just had to be explained to what a vacuum was.
No, bro, you do this the most.
I'm almost drowned too. Just never metaphorically.
I'm gonna put it this way, okay? So when you present an argument, the first thing you say, if this is the way you do that, the first thing you say is you're wrong, bro, you're gonna shut me down.
Let's get back. Forget all that shit. Let's get back to Brick's argument. I'm going to stray a little bit. I'm going to take your analogy of introducing things into a vacuum. I'm going to say the vacuum has little to no effect on them. The first thing I'm noticing is when you put one next to the other, there will be an attraction. And I'm calling it gravity. It could, I don't know. I can't explain it. But it just like putting two magnets too close together. They pull. The same thing will happen with any two big massive particles. it would pull. So I wouldn't be introducing pressures and shit into there yet. Gravity, we know just the introduction, if gravity is a pulling force, we know that exists. What do they call it? The three motion problem, whatever the fuck they call it, three body problem. Two, you can figure out how they spin around each other. You introduce a third, and it's uncalculable.
So I would just call it a bond.
Okay. I'm all right with that.
If you want to call it gravity, you can call it gravity.
Yeah.
I literally can't.
You acknowledge the bond? You acknowledge the bond, obviously, because you said it's unmasked. So you do acknowledge there's a bond.
Yeah, there is a bond that does take place, but I say it takes place under a pressurized system.
We just put it in the vacuum and it still works.
So in the vacuum, right. So
yes.
because with a vacuum, right, a vacuum has no mass, right? So what's going to happen when you put mass into a vacuum? It's not that the particles are going to attract each other. It's just that when they do touch each other, they will bond.
No. We've proven that they don't have to touch each other. That's going past each other causes an effect on them. In fact, go ahead.
I would say that there's smaller particles that they can't measure, that they haven't measured yet, that are bonding them. So like
in fact, yeah,
they're pressurizing, they're bonding. It's
I'm not sure bonding and pressurizing can be used in the same fashion in that way. I mean, you may have an argument that when they come together, they create pressure. But now we are talking about particles of matter and particles of matter. And the vacuum would have nothing to do with that conversation. We could have a conversation with pressure, gravity, and heat, like Orthodox said. But the vacuum shit would play no role in my head.
The only reason the vacuum plays a role is because that is space. It is space for the reaction to take place, for the bonding.
But all right, but I thought you were giving it a force. You were giving it an active duty, which would be very difficult because it wouldn't fit the definition of empty space of a vacuum. If when you introduce something, it starts to having an effect on it by causing pressure on it and that type of thing.
Right.
Because there should be nothing out there for it to be pushing on the planet.
Right, exactly. And that's why I when you said I hate that they called it a vacuum, I agree. Like that part right there, it's not actually a vacuum like what we got in our minds about, like
where it suck. It doesn't suck.
Yeah, it's not sucking, it's just nothingness. It's
the vacuum of space isn't, the vacuums don't suck in general. Are you talking about the actual, like a vacuum cleaner? Because like they really don't suck either. It creates a force because of the air rushing into an actual perpetual vacuum.
Right, because
that causes force. That causes force that picks up debris.
Right, and then there's
deposits it into the vacuum bag.
We call that sucking when you pull it into.
Well, I'm saying vacuums in general don't really suck anything.
Well, I'll tell you the reason that they started calling it a vacuum is because the original creators of the vacuum created a completely sealed surface.
That's where I think it came from, and the quick release of the atmosphere is changing the pressures in and out. That's why they named it vacuum, and it's still I don't know.
It's technically it's a suction machine.
Yeah. So people think the vacuum of space, all these flat earthers think it would suck the air out. That's what all flat earthers think. There's a vacuum out there would suck the air off, Joe.
Right. Yeah, and I don't go down that road. I don't believe that. Right. So I just believe it's a pressurized system.
You know what makes a pressurized system? Since you're talking about it, the pressurized system, needs gravity. As far as we know it, the reason we have pressure on all of these planets on Earth, the reason we have an atmosphere as we know it, is because gravity will hold things to the planet so a system can develop. Absent gravity, these things to just float off somewhere and not do
Hey,
those things.
and that's what you believe. I believe it's just a simple bonding. That's what I believe.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm back.
we'll leave it. We'll leave it there.
All right.
I'm going to close the show out, guys.
All right, good.
So everybody else can figure out what we're doing. Outside of that, I'm going to have my quick talk with everybody, and we'll figure out where we're going to go from there. So, guys, thank you for actually being here
Bro.
on the panel.
Appreciate you for having me, bro.
No problem. Oh man, guys. We got into a little bit of science talk that happened there near the last end of it. But the entire premise that we were getting to, we were discussing, or rather, I was for a good portion of time, was discussing this whole thing about time and our grasp on it. You could look at it the way. I hope tonight's conversation has got you thinking at least a little bit about how you spend your time. I know I'm going to be thinking about it for some time. We all do this, but hopefully you really give it a little bit more thought when it comes to this. For me, or rather for you, say for me, let's see who is on right now. If anyone is on right now, I got a few things, few people up here. Don't know what's going on here. You know what? Haven't done this for a while. We'll go here. Maybe for me, it's not about wishing for more time. It's not about it. That's not what I'm thinking. Rather, it's about learning how to utilize the time that you've already got in a way that feels more meaningful. You don't need more time to live your best life. That's not what I'm pushing and saying that. I don't think I've ever said that throughout the whole conversation. I think we just need to make better use of the actual time that we already have. And that's going to be it for me for tonight. Don't forget to actually hit the subscribe button if you didn't already. And of course, hit the notification that you get the actual bell whenever YouTube decides to let you know when I decide to drop more stuff in the future. Drop your thoughts in the comments if you're catching on the replay. Let's keep the conversation going. And until then, stay present, stay engaged. Most importantly, though, stay opinionated. See you next time.